A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Kroger Tender Ray Beef, no other beef so fresh can be so tender, presents Hearts in Harmony, transcribed. Friends, maybe you've noticed your family getting a little restless at the dinner table these last few days. Maybe you've caught that when's it coming gleam in their eyes. Well, you can bet they're all looking forward to the holidays, because holidays mean feasts of wonderful poultry, cooked as only you can cook a duck, goose, chicken, or turkey. And the wise woman knows that she can depend on Kroger's poultry to do justice to her cooking. Yes, those Kroger birds are the best birds in town, the plumpest, tenderest, juiciest, best-cooking bird you ever enjoyed, and chock full of country fresh flavor. No, ma'am, nothing run-of-the-mine about Kroger's poultry. It's all specially selected for folks like you who demand the very best. For instance, look at those famous 4-point blue ribbon turkeys. You'll say you never saw anything so plump and full of fine flavored meat. It melts in your mouth. It's positively delicious and juicy and sweet. That's because these remarkable 4-point blue ribbon turkeys are, 1, raised in the best turkey-growing areas by experienced turkey farmers. 2, scientifically fed to make them plump and juicy. 3, expertly dressed with all the care you'd take yourself. And 4, the ones that reach your Kroger store are specially chosen to please exacting people like you. Just try one and see. But remember, only your Kroger store has genuine 4-point blue ribbon turkeys. Order one now. And now, Hearts in Harmony. Freddie Lang seems to have formed more than a casual friendship with the wealthy young Madeline Dodge. And there's a hint that he will perhaps use his newfound association to embarrass Penny Gibbs. Freddie, however, had not said anything to Penny about knowing Miss Dodge, and so the next morning at breakfast, Penny says to her brother, Pat,
Pat, has Freddie ever said anything to you about knowing Madeline Dodge?
Huh. You kidding, Penny? Why would he say anything like that?
Because he does know her.
Hey, wait a minute, sis. Don't let your dreams get too realistic.
Oh, no, it's nothing I dreamt, darling. Johnny Keith and I saw Freddie driving down the street with Madeline just last night.
What was Freddie doing? Wearing a chauffeur's uniform?
He was driving all right. An expensive convertible coupe. And he didn't act as if he were chauffeuring for her. He slowed down and shouted some rather disparaging remark to me.
Huh?
Well, it wasn't really bad. Just something about my walking because I couldn't afford a car or something.
What? Well, just whose car does he think he's been driving around here if it isn't yours?
He didn't mean it literally. It was just his way of saying, look at the swanky car I'm driving tonight.
Hey, I think that's kind of cute. Freddie's trying to make you jealous.
It is not cute. In the first place, it won't make me jealous. And in the second place, if Freddie gets too deeply involved with Madeline Dodge's kind, it can lead to serious trouble.
It can? How?
Well, you know what can happen when a poor person begins to mix with wealthy people. One of two things usually happens. He finds out someday that his rich friends aren't really his friends at all, but are trying to get rid of him, or he begins to borrow money to keep up with his rich friends. And heavy debts are item number 1 in the beginning of the end department.
Oh, look, Penny, Madeline Dodge and her crowd won't put up with Freddie long enough either to hurt him or run him into debt.
Oh, don't be too sure about that. People like Madeline Dodge don't care for other people's feelings. And don't forget that Freddie Lang has rather winning ways. Madeline Dodge just might think that Freddie's quite charming.
Well, the kid does have a line.
Oh, and his background would be more than casually interesting to people like the Dodges. Pat, I think I'd better have a talk with Freddie, even if he does tell me to mind my own business. I don't want Freddie in trouble again. He's had enough already to last him a lifetime. Is he awake yet?
Oh, he was getting up when I came down to breakfast. This may be him now. You want me to beat it?
No, finish your breakfast.
Well, one more cup of coffee.
Here, give me your cup and I'll get it for you.
Oh. You're not at the bank yet?
Oh, just leaving. In one more cup of coffee, Suzanne.
I see. I thought you would be gone long before this. Good morning, Penny.
Morning, Suzanne. You sleep well?
You know I didn't.
I'm sorry. The coffee?
if you can spare it.
Oh, Suzanne, why don't you stop acting like a hurt child?
Why don't you stop criticizing me for everything I say and do?
I'm not trying to criticize you, Suzanne.
Suzanne, here's your coffee.
I can pour my own thing.
I've already poured it for you. Come on, take it.
Very well.
Here, Pat, I'll pour yours if you give me a cup.
No, thanks, sis. I don't think I'll...
Now that I'm at the table, you don't care to stay.
Oh, I'm sorry, Suzanne. I didn't mean it that way.
You could not have meant it any other way.
Believe me, Suzanne, it was a stupid thing to say, and I'm sorry. I'll have more coffee, Penny.
Well, don't force it on him, Penny. I'm sure he'll not enjoy it with me at the table.
Oh.
Perhaps both of you would like me to eat my meals in the kitchen from now on.
Suzanne, please don't take everything the wrong way. Pat just changed his mind about wanting more coffee. In fact, I just talked him into it when he came in.
I'm not surprised that you take his part against me. You're all together against me, aren't you?
Suzanne, I don't want to hear you say that again. That's pure nonsense.
I'll say anything I wish.
Well, I won't listen to just anything. Excuse me.
Sure, sis.
Sorry, Suzanne, but I don't like steams for breakfast. I don't intend to have one.
Oh, I'm sorry, sis.
If I'm being rude, I apologize to both of you.
Well, that's the last time your sister's going to walk out on me.
She walked out only so she wouldn't have a fight with you, Suzanne. She doesn't have anything against you.
Oh, no, your beloved sister can do no wrong. Did I say anything to force her to leave the table? Did I? Pat Gibbs, when I ask you a question, I expect you to give me an answer. Did I force your sister to leave the table?
You're not going to like the answer, Suzanne.
It will not be the first thing I've not liked. Did I force your sister to leave?
Yes, you did. Hey, that's no way to treat a saucer. Now, why did you smash it like that?
Because I wanted to smash it.
Okay. Guess that's a good enough reason. You feel better?
I don't like your sarcasm.
You mean you don't like me?
I despise you.
Well, that's making it plain enough, isn't it? I hope you didn't mean it, though.
I meant it.
You mean it for right now, huh? This afternoon you'll feel differently.
This afternoon, this evening, tomorrow, the next day, and the day after that, I'll feel the same as I do now. And what I feel for you, I feel for your sister Penny and all your friends and their friends. And nothing you can do or say will ever change me.
I still hope you're kidding, Suzanne, or in just a mood.
The mood, you call it, do you? Why don't you come right out and tell me what you've been telling everyone else in town? That you think I'm insane.
Maybe because I know you're not insane, Suzanne. You're just a little mixed up or misled or misinformed or something.
And what do you mean by that, or something?
I mean I don't know what the trouble is, and I never will unless you'll tell me.
I won't waste my breath. Now go to the bank, will you? And don't come home until you have to. I've seen enough of you this morning.
Okay. So long. I hope you feel better. And kiss the baby for me when she wakes up, will you?
Oh. Then you think it's still all right if I touch my own child?
Oh, Suzanne,
Go
don't
on,
be
get
like...
out of here. I don't want to talk anymore.
And maybe I don't either.
All right, then. Leave me alone.
Hi there, Mr. G.
Good morning, Freddie.
Hey, what's the matter there, fella? You look like a pool of muddy water.
Oh, it's nothing. Oh, say, you seem full of pep for a guy who got in at 2 o'clock this morning.
Oh, I'm still young. I can take it. It's you old guys that need all the sleep.
Yeah, we sure do. Well, say, if you don't mind, I'd suggest having your breakfast in the kitchen. Suzanne is in the dining room, and she's not in too good a mood.
Oh, yeah? Well, okay. Thanks for the tip. I'll do that. Hey, maybe that's why you look like an ugly old growl, huh?
Well, it isn't fun to be on outs with your wife. But you won't know about that till you're married, Freddie.
Me? Nah, I'm going to be the boss in my family.
Spoken like a true bachelor. If you feel that way, you'd better stay one, Freddie. There shouldn't be a boss in any family. Marriage is a corporation, an agreement of mutual... Oh.
Well, what's the joke?
Oh, I'm the joke, Freddie. Here I am, not even on speaking terms with my wife, and I give you a lecture on how to have a perfect marriage. Go on into the kitchen and have your breakfast. I've got to get to work.
Well, okay. I'll see you later, huh?
Yeah, a lot later. Bye.
So long. Hey there. Morning, Gibbsy.
Oh, good morning, Fred.
Mr. G says that I better grab my grub here in the kitchen. It seems that Mrs. G is playing wild Indian this morning, huh?
Oh, she's just a little out of sorts.
Sit down, I'll fix you something. The dishes can wait.
Oh, no, Gibbsy. Go ahead, finish them up. I ain't too hungry. I had a big feed at about 1:30 this morning out at Mike's place.
Freddie, what were you doing out there at that terrible place?
Oh, now, that ain't too bad of a joint, Gibbsy. That is, if you go there with the right kind of people, it ain't. Hey, guess who I went there with last night?
I think I know. Do you?
Me? Well, sure I know. Well, me and her is pals, but she gave me a bawling out for yelling at you and that Keith guy on the street last night. I'm sorry about that, Gibbsy.
Didn't make any difference, Freddie. I hardly heard it.
Haha, you kidding? Listen, I couldn't have yelled it any louder than I did. Did you see the dame that was with me?
Yes, I did. She's very pretty.
Yeah, you bet she is. She's got looks and class.
And money.
Well, the money don't faze me none, Gibbsy. Just as long as she keeps her looks and her class and she keeps on liking me, she can keep her dough, too. You know who she is, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Suppose you tell me who she is.
Why?
I just wonder if she gave you a right name.
Why, sure she gave me a right name. She's Madeline Dodge, the rich dame that lives out at Glen Cove.
And she hasn't been trying to play a game with you.
Well, why would she do that to me?
First, tell me something, Freddie. How did you meet her?
Just by accident. You remember the night I stormed out of here? I bumped into her then. She couldn't get her car started, so I got it started for her and drove her on home and made a date with her. Last night we had a date, and tomorrow night we're going to have another date.
Where are you getting all the money to take out the wealthy Miss Dodge?
I ain't getting it from her, Gibbsy. Her dough's no good for me. Last night I shot a week's savings on her up at Mike's place, and tonight, just 'cause I'm broke, we're going out for a ride in the car. Hey, ain't you asking me an awful lot of stuff that ain't none of your business, Gibbsy?
Yes, I am, Freddie. I'm sorry. I'm just afraid that if you keep seeing Miss Dodge, one of these days you're going to find out that she and her wealthy friends are just laughing at you.
Hey, wait a minute, Gibbsy. Just 'cause you ain't got the looks that she has or the dough, don't go making no cracks like that.
Oh, no, Freddie, please, I didn't mean
And
it.
before we go any further, let's get this straight, too. I wasn't good enough for you before, but I'm good enough for Madeline. And maybe, Gibbsy, we're going to find out that you won't be good enough for me.
So Freddie's association with Madeline Dodge has already turned him against Penny Gibbs. And Penny is the only person in the world who was willing to help Freddie when he so desperately needed help. What effect will this have on Penny in the weeks to come? Be sure to listen to the next dramatic episode of Hearts in Harmony. What do you look for in poultry, madam? Do you like firm, sweet-flavored, tender meat? Do you like juiciness? Do you go for that hard-to-describe but easy-to-taste country fresh flavor? Do you prefer a bird that's plump with clean, crisp skin, with plenty of breast and fat legs and wings? Well, that's the sort of poultry you get at your Kroger store, the best birds in town. You see, Kroger's poultry is specially chosen to please hard-to-please people like you. And that's why it comes out of your oven tasting better, more flavorful, tenderer, juicier. For instance, those aristocrats of the poultry kingdom, 4-point blue ribbon turkeys. Now, these birds are better, 4 ways better. They're raised in the finest turkey-raising areas by master turkey growers. Then they're scientifically fed, actually coddled, to make them plumper and more tender. Next, they're dressed expertly, as carefully as you would dress a prize bird. And the ones that finally reach your Kroger store are specially selected for folks like you. Why don't you order a famous 4-point blue ribbon turkey at your Kroger store now? Now, your local announcer.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. An elderly man reports the sudden death of his wife. He claims he awoke in the morning to find her dead on the floor of their bedroom. The cause of death is not apparent. Your job? investigate. In Fatima, the difference is quality.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Quality of tobaccos. The finest domestic and Turkish varieties, extra mild, superbly blended, to give you Fatima's much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, round, perfect Fatima cigarettes. Rolled in the finest paper money can buy. Manufactured in the newest and most modern of all cigarette factories.
Quality. Even to the appearance of the bright, clean, golden yellow Fatima package.
So compare Fatima yourself today.
You'll find Fatima gives you all the advantages of extra length, plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has.
Yes, light up a Fatima. Your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Because in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Friday, November 12th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Freddie. It was 9:38 a.m. when I got back to the first floor of the Blackwell Hotel. Room 7.
Oh, hi, Joe. Come on.
Yeah. How's the old fella doing? He tell you anything?
Hasn't talked at all. He's pretty broken up. The woman's dead. That's about it. Now, how about the bruise on her forehead? You think that could have been it?
No, it was just a slight bruise. I don't think that could have killed her.
They moved the body out of the room yet?
Yeah, they just did. Taking it downtown for the autopsy. Well, I guess we can take the old man back to his own room now, huh?
Yeah, I think so. He's back here in the kitchen there. Fixed him a cup of coffee. Still feeling pretty bad. Mr. Turner, would you like to go back to your room now? Everything's been fixed up. Mr. Turner?
What happened? You can tell me. What happened to Gertrude?
I'm afraid we don't know, Mr. Turner. Not yet.
I told you about it, didn't I? Woke up this morning about 8 o'clock. Put my arm over on the pillow and she wasn't there. And I got up and I saw her laying on the floor. My wife, Gertrude. I felt her arm. She was cold. Ice cold. Somebody ought to know what happened.
Well, we'll let you know just as soon as we get the coroner's report, sir. Would you like to go back to your own room now?
What's coroner have to do with it?
Well, he's going to have to perform an autopsy. We'll have the report for you tomorrow morning.
I don't want him to do that to Gertrude. I don't want him to.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm afraid it's necessary. Deaths of this kind, there was no doctor in attendance, nobody to sign the death certificate.
There's nothing I can do, nothing to help her.
I'm sorry, Mr. Turner.
Can we help you back to your room, sir?
Is she still there?
No, sir. They've taken her body downtown. Can I give you a hand there?
Thank you. All right.
I'll get the door.
Where'd Mr. Parkson go?
Who's that, sir?
The hotel manager, Mr. Parkson.
Oh, yeah.
These are his rooms here. I wanted to tell him thank you for letting me stay down here a while.
Well, I think he'll be back in a few minutes. He was busy outside.
Nice of him. Let me use his place. I couldn't stay in our room. Not the way it was. Gertrude and I up there.
It's all right now, Mr. Turner. Can you make the stairs all right?
Yes, sir, thank you. I'm just a little tired, that's all. Guess the whole thing's been too much for me.
Maybe you'd like to have us call your family doctor.
No, we don't have a family doctor. I'll be all right after a spell. It's just hard to understand, that's all. I have to think about it a while. Sit down and think about it.
Yes, sir. Here we are. I'll get the door. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah.
Right there on the floor, officer. It's where I found her when I woke up. Right there by the bed.
Mm-hmm.
Where have they taken her?
Downtown, Mr. Turner, to the county morgue.
Oh. They'll let me see her, won't they?
Yes, sir, they will. Do you feel up to answering a few questions for us now?
All right. I'll tell you everything I know about it. I don't see how it's going to help anything.
We'll try to make it as brief as possible, sir. Now, your wife's full name is Gertrude Agnes Turner, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Her age?
Let's see, Gertrude, 63. Yeah, that's it. I'm 4 years older than her. That's how I always tell.
Was your wife in good health, Mr. Turner? Under a doctor's care, anything like that?
No. Nothing wrong with her I know of.
Heart trouble? Anything like that?
No, sir. She used to have headaches every now and then. A doctor friend of ours back home used to send pills for her to take. That's about all.
How was your wife feeling last night? Was she all right then?
Just fine. When I woke up, I put my arm over on her pillow. She wasn't there. Then I got up and saw her laying on the floor, right by the bed. Gertrude. She was ice cold. There was a little bruise up here on her forehead. I thought I was dreaming. She was dead. We weren't even married a year.
Do you want to go on, sir? You think you feel all right?
Yeah, it's all right, officer. I got a little bit of brandy in that cupboard over there. Think I could use some if you two officers don't mind?
That's perfectly all right, sir.
Yeah, I'll get it, Mr. Turner.
We had it all figured out Tuesday, November 16th. That's her name's day.
How's that?
November 16th. It's my wife's name's day. You see, Gertrude's a German girl. A lot of German people don't celebrate their birthday. They celebrate their name's day instead. Next Tuesday's St. Gertrude's Day.
Oh, I see.
There you are, Mr. Turner.
Thank you. Either one of you officers care for some brandy? You're certainly welcome to it.
No, thank you very much.
Do you or your wife have many friends in town, Mr. Turner?
No, just a few. Around the hotel here. Gertrude and I have only been in California a few months. Come out from Indiana, Fort Wayne.
Yes, sir. No relatives here?
No, sir. Wife only had one relative living, sister. She's back in Indiana.
How did you and your wife get along, all right?
Oh, fine. We never had any trouble. I loved her, officer.
Did your wife have any enemies that you know of, sir? People she didn't get along with? Somebody who might have wanted to hurt her?
Oh, I can't think of anyone.
Well, how about some of the men your wife knew before she married you, Mr. Turner? Any bad feelings one of them might have had toward your wife?
No, sir, not that I know of. Besides, all her old friends are still back there in Indiana.
Mm-hmm. You say your marriage was working out pretty well. Your wife didn't have any gentleman friends that she might have been interested in?
No, sir, I know that for the truth. Gertrude spent her time at home. She didn't run around. She was a good wife.
Mm-hmm. Would you know if your wife had any reason at all to take her own life, maybe?
Well, that's the last thing in the world Gertrude to do. No reason for it. We had too many things to look forward to. Oh, lots of things. You don't stop living just because you pass 65.
Yes, sir.
Tell me the truth, officer. Don't you really know what happened to her?
No, sir, no more than you do. Afraid we'll have to wait for that coroner's report.
I don't understand it, officer. How am I supposed to understand it?
Sir?
I went to bed last night and I had a wife.
Yes, sir.
Today's my day off. We're going to take a car ride down the beach. That's the dress she was going to wear hanging up there. Gertrude made it herself. She was going to wear it today.
I'll try to take it easy, Mr. Turner.
I beg your pardon. She's all I had. Why should she have to die? She didn't have to die, did she?
I don't know, sir. Maybe she didn't have a choice. The body of the dead woman, Mrs. Gertrude Agnes Turner, was removed to the county morgue for autopsy. Ben and I filled out the 311 form, the dead body report, and filed it, pending the outcome of the autopsy. A couple of Mr. Turner's friends who lived upstairs from him at the Blackwell Hotel agreed to look after the old man until he got over the shock of his wife's sudden death. 7:45 the next morning, I checked in for work as usual.
Morning, Joe.
Morning. What do you know?
Not much. Pretty slow.
How about the Turner woman? No word on the autopsy, huh?
No, coroner hasn't called yet. If you've got any smokes, I left the house in a hurry this morning and forgot everything.
Yeah, right here.
Oh, thanks.
Here.
Thanks. Lousy morning. Another row with the wife.
Oh? What's the matter?
Oh, another one of those church bazaars she got herself mixed up in. She's calling on me for help again.
Oh, yeah? What you do now?
Remember the last time, don't you? That spring bazaar? Had me working on decorations down to church 7 nights a week. 18 women running around telling you what to do.
Yeah.
It's like a madhouse, Joe. This time it's even worse.
How do you mean?
This time the ladies figure they ought to have a little more production. They want me to dress up in some kind of a funny costume. Auction off pies and cake. You know, stovepipe hat, false mustache will work.
No? You turned them down, huh? You won't do it with it.
Well, not exactly. Wife kicked up such a row, I guess I'll end up doing it. Got an idea, though.
Huh?
Wouldn't be so bad if I had somebody to work with me. You wouldn't like to help me out, would you, Joe?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm going to be a little busy, Ben, but if I get a chance, I'll drop out to see you, though. I get it.
Yeah.
Homicide Friday. Oh, yeah. How's that? Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. Okay, we'll be right over. Was Doc Cephalou over at the morgue about Miss Turner?
Got the autopsy report for us?
Yeah, they won't sign the death certificate.
What's the trouble?
A couple of things. Looks too suspicious for him, they said.
How'd they list the cause of death?
She suffocated. 8:15 a.m. We went across the street and talked with Dr. Cephalou. All he could tell us was that Gertrude Turner had suffered severe convulsions and that she died of suffocation. There was a small bruise in her forehead and numerous other small bruises around the base of the throat. Not enough to say that the woman had been murdered, and yet too much to dismiss the case as an accidental death. Together with Lorman and Barrett from Homicide, Ben and I looked up some of the friends of Mr. and Mrs. Turner. We found 2 points which didn't check out with the story that Mr. Turner had told us. According to the friends, Turner had had some violent arguments with his wife. On at least one occasion, he'd struck her. And secondly, the dead woman did have a gentleman friend in the neighborhood, but his conduct with her had been above question. It was strictly friendship. We decided to take it from there. We went back to the Blackwell Hotel and found Mr. Turner in his room. He was wrapping up some of his wife's personal effects and packing them in corrugated boxes. We told him about the coroner's report.
I don't think I believe that, Sergeant. People just don't suffocate. There's got to be a reason for it.
Yes, sir. That's what we're looking for.
Well, don't they know? Can't they tell you how it happened to the doctors?
Well, she had severe convulsions. She suffocated. That's just all they could tell us.
Well, the bruise on her head, Gertrude's forehead. What'd they say about that?
Well, that wasn't the cause of death, Mr. Turner. She could have gotten a bump when she fell out of bed. It might have been that. It might not.
I just don't understand. You'd think there'd be some way of telling.
Well, we were around talking to some of your friends in the neighborhood this morning, friends of you and your wife.
Yeah. Oh, they've been real friends, officers. Every one of them. Been up to see me, brought me meals and things. Say, isn't that a pretty thing? Just look at that.
Yes, sir.
Real born china. A cup and a saucer. Gertrude used to collect them. Had all kinds. Pretty.
Yes, sir. When we were talking to you yesterday, sir, you told us that you and your wife got along pretty well. No arguments?
Yes, sir, that's right.
Well, now, some of your friends tell us that you used to argue with your wife quite a bit.
Who told you that?
Some of your friends here in the neighborhood. Is that true?
Well, when we first got married, Gertrude and I guess we had a few spats. No different than other people. Getting used to each other, things like that, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, did you ever strike your wife, Mr. Turner?
Why do you ask that?
Routine question. Did you ever strike your wife? Mr. Turner?
Yes. One of the first arguments we had. I don't even remember what it was about. That's how important it was.
Mm-hmm.
I lost my temper, I guess. I kind of slapped her. Oh, I felt like a no-good bum. Never once happened again. Slapping Gertrude. It's hard to remember it right now.
Well, we asked you the same question yesterday, sir. Couldn't you have told us that then?
Oh, I'm sorry, officer. I guess I missed it. I wasn't feeling too good. I think you know what I mean.
But you remember us asking if your wife had any gentleman friends?
Yes, I remember that.
Well, now, is it true?
Well, there's one fella named Clyde Warren. Runs a drugstore down the street. I guess Gertrude knew him better than anybody, but he was my friend, too.
Well, did you ever complain to this Clyde Warren that he was spending too much time around your wife, that he ought to see less of her?
I think I did maybe once or twice. It was kind of in a fooling way. Certainly didn't mean it. Clyde Warren's one of my best friends.
Well, did you ever complain to your wife that she was seeing too much Warren?
No, sir, never even mentioned it. Why ask me all these things?
Well, your wife's dead, Mr. Turner, and we still haven't found out why.
But you asked me questions like I had something to do with it.
Well, you were the last one to see her alive, sir. You were alone with her in this room the night she died.
You think I killed Gertrude? Is that it? You think I killed my own wife?
No, sir, we didn't say anyone killed her.
You think I killed my own wife? You think I killed her?
Well, did you kill her, Mr. Turner?
You know I didn't kill Gertrude. You know I didn't do that.
I'm sorry, sir. There's not much else we can do now.
What do you mean?
Coroner found a series of bruises on the body, right around here, base of the neck. We know she died of suffocation. The two things seem to fit pretty well.
I don't know what you mean. I didn't see any bruises, not on her neck. I don't know what you mean.
Well, I'll take you downtown, sir. You can call your lawyer now if you like.
I don't have a lawyer. Why are you taking me downtown?
No alternative. We're going to have to book you.
How's that?
Suspicion of murder. 10:25 a.m. Before we booked him at the main jail, Mr. Turner asked us if we'd get off a telegram to his sister-in-law, Mrs. Helen Raymond, in Fort Wayne, Indiana, informing her of what had happened. We told him we would, and we did. We booked him in on suspicion of 187 PC, and then we checked back in at the office. We put in a call to the insurance company that held a policy on Mrs. Turner.
Yes, sir. Gertrude Agnes Turner. Mm-hmm. What was that? All right. Right. Thank you, sir. Goodbye.
What'd they have to say?
Mrs. Turner had 3 different policies on her life, total of $5,000. Mr. Turner's a beneficiary on all 3.
Well, that'll do for a motive.
And something else here.
Yeah.
Newest policy is for $1,000, industrial policy.
When was it taken out?
3 weeks ago.
You are in the Scientific Investigation Division of the Metropolitan Police Department, the ballistics room.
You have just heard a test bullet fired from a .38 caliber revolver found in the possession of a suspect.
The test slug is removed from the ballistics box and compared with the slug found at the scene of the crime.
There they are. Side by side, they look alike, but examination will prove a world of difference. You'll find the same is true when you compare king-size cigarettes.
Fatimas are the same length as any other king-size cigarette, 85 millimeters. Fatima has the same circumference, 1 1/64 inches around.
And Fatima filters the smoke exactly the same long distance as other king-size cigarettes.
But in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Fatima gives you extra mildness, a much different, much better flavor and aroma. You get all the advantages of extra length, plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has.
So compare Fatima yourself. Your first puff will tell you,
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Buy Fatima. Best of all long cigarettes.
Monday, November 15th, 10 a.m. The investigation went on. We failed to uncover any additional evidence against the suspect, Mr. Turner. We had 3 main points against the man. The recently issued insurance policy on his wife for $1,000, the fact that he had fought with his wife and struck her on several occasions, and the series of bruises which had been discovered at the base of the dead woman's neck. Well, as it stood, we weren't too sure that the case would hold up in court. Ben was less sure that the old man was actually responsible for the death of his wife. We figured if Turner was guilty, we might try to impress him with the evidence against him and attempt to get a confession. Monday, 1 p.m., we went over to the main jail to interrogate the suspect. You want to step aside there? They want to lock that door.
Oh, yes, sir.
This way, Mr. Turner. I'll get the light switch.
Turner.
Mr. Turner, you'd like to sit down?
All right. Thank you. Why'd you come to see me? Have you found out something?
We've been checking a little bit further into the case, Mr. Turner. We got a few more questions for you, if you don't mind.
Did you send the message to my sister-in-law, Mrs. Raymond, the one I asked you to send?
Yes, sir. We took care of it.
You got the address right, didn't you? Fort Wayne, Indiana?
That's right. Just sent a telegram, told her all about it.
That was 2 days ago. She should have gotten it by now. I haven't heard a word from her. Are you sure she got the telegram all right?
Pretty sure. We'll check on it when we get back to the office.
A few things we got here that you might like to know about, sir. Maybe you can help clear them up for us.
What's that, officer?
We understand that your wife, Gertrude, had some insurance on herself. $5,000 worth?
Yes, that's right. Something you want to know about it?
Well, she named you as the beneficiary in each of her policies. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Gertrude was a great believer in insurance. Don't hold with it too much myself. She used to tell me all the time.
Yes, sir.
In case she died first, she wanted me to have a little something for old age. Something to retire on and get a little ranch out in the valley.
I understand she took out a policy just lately, $1,000 about 3 weeks ago.
I know about it. I didn't want her to do it. Clean waste of money, I told her. Payments were pretty steep.
Well, sir, is there anybody who can back that up? That you told your wife you didn't want her to take out that policy?
No, I don't think so. We didn't talk about our business with other people.
Yeah.
Friday, hello.
Yeah? What is it?
Phone call says it's important. Either one of you.
Do you want to get it, Ben?
You okay?
You can take it out to the desk here.
All right, thanks.
I think I know what you mean. The insurance. You think that's why I killed Gertrude. Isn't that right?
Well, sir, put yourself in our place, Mr. Turner. What would you think?
You know in your heart I didn't kill my wife. You know that in your heart.
Well, they don't pay us for what we believe, Turner. They pay us to get the facts, to run down evidence. Doesn't make any difference what I believe.
But you know I didn't kill her. You know that, don't you?
Well, sir, I know we asked you if you ever argued with your wife, and you told us no. We found out you beat her up a couple of times. We asked you if she was friendly with any of the men in the neighborhood. You told us no. We found one. We asked you about the bruises the coroner found on her neck. You don't know. You can't explain them. We asked you if your wife had been ill, if she had any sickness, to explain her dying the way she did, and you said no. We asked you about the insurance. You can't explain that either. 3 weeks before she dies, she takes out $1,000 on her life. She dies in the same room with you, and you don't know how or why. Now, you tell me, mister, what are we supposed to believe?
I didn't kill her. Somebody has to believe it. Somebody. I didn't kill her.
Joe, see you a minute?
Yeah. Yeah.
That phone call, it was long distance. Turner's sister-in-law, Mrs. Raymond.
What you want?
Calling from Fort Wayne. She's flying out here tonight. Seemed pretty wrought up.
About her sister, huh?
Mostly about Mr. Turner. She claims he's innocent. Seems pretty sure of it.
She can prove that Turner didn't kill his wife?
That's what she said. She's bringing the proof with her.
Tuesday, November 16th. Turner's sister-in-law, Mrs. Raymond, was scheduled to arrive at 6 p.m. by plane from Indiana. At 2 p.m., one of the main points in the case against the suspect was proven false. A woman friend of Mrs. Turner, after reading of the husband's arrest in the paper, informed us that while Mrs. Turner was visiting her home a few days before she died, she complained of a severe headache. The woman's son, who was studying to be a chiropractor, attempted to treat Mrs. Turner's headache by manipulating the muscles in her neck and shoulders. The woman said that Mrs. Turner called the next day and complained about receiving bruises on her neck as a result of her son's experimental treatment. The son came down to the office and signed a full statement to this effect. At 7 p.m., Mr. Turner's sister-in-law arrived. With her was a Dr. John Grant, a Fort Wayne physician. The two of them told us their story and gave us all the information they had concerning the case. Ben and I went immediately to the main jail, picked up Mr. Turner, and brought him back to the office. His sister-in-law and Dr. Grant waited in the adjoining room.
Why'd you bring me here? You going to ask me more questions? I told you everything.
No, sir. No more questions.
You can't take me off to prison. I haven't had a trial yet.
No, sir, you're not going to have a trial, Mr. Turner. We're releasing you.
How's that?
Your sister-in-law, Ms. Raymond, she's in the next room with her doctor. They're going to take you home, sir.
I don't think I understand, officer. How do you mean?
Your sister-in-law just got in from Fort Wayne tonight, and she has her family doctor with her. They told us about your wife, Gertrude. Everything we had to know.
About Gertrude? My wife? Well, what do you mean, officer?
Well, maybe you can understand, sir. Your wife was afraid to let you know. She told her sister she was afraid it might break up her marriage.
Afraid to tell me what?
Well, your wife suffered from epilepsy. She had it most of her life.
She had epilepsy?
Yes, sir, she did. And this Dr. Grant showed us that he's been sending your wife medicine ever since you moved out here to California. He treated her many times for the same thing before you met her. She figured it might ruin her chances of marrying you, so she kept it a secret.
The medicine. I remember that. Used to come through the mail.
And that's it, sir. Accounts for the headache she had the night before she died. She probably had an attack during the night, suffocated. That's how you found her in the morning.
Well, why didn't they know? The coroner, they examined her.
Well, sir, that's just the point. If you die of epilepsy, there's just no way of telling, not even by autopsy. Convulsions and suffocation. That's the only way they can list it.
And she was ashamed. Gertrude. She was afraid to tell me.
Yes, sir, that's what she wrote to your sister-in-law. We saw the letters.
And I can leave now if I want to? Is it all right?
We'll get you things from the property clerk first, and then you can go.
Can I see Helen now, my sister-in-law? I'd like to say hello.
Yes, sir, you can. It's right through that door there.
Well, thank you kindly.
It's all right.
Officer.
Yes.
Just one thing I'd like to ask.
Yes.
You knew all the time, didn't you? I mean in your own heart.
How's that?
I couldn't have killed Gertrude. In your own heart, you knew that, didn't you? Officer?
Yes, sir, I know it.
I thought you did. I'll be right back.
Joe?
Huh?
I wouldn't worry about him.
What's that?
We'll call it a white lie.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 16th, a meeting was held in the office of Blaine Steed, captain of homicide. In a moment, the results of that meeting.
And now here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, the makers of Fatima do everything possible to produce the king-size cigarette that you want, just as we on Dragnet try to bring you the kind of entertainment that you want. Well, in our honest opinion, Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes. And I know from reading our Dragnet mail that more and more of you back me up on that. If you haven't tried Fatimas yet, may I suggest you buy a pack? You'll find Fatima gives you all the advantages of extra length, plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has. Remember, tomorrow, first chance you get, buy Fatima.
The death of Gertrude Agnes Turner was proved beyond a doubt to be due to natural causes. A 9.10 report was made which completely exonerated the husband of the dead woman. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Stay tuned for Counter Spy next over most NBC stations.
Ladies and gentlemen, the American Broadcasting Company brings to its entire network one of radio's most unusual programs. Pat Novak for Hire.
Sure. I'm Pat Novak for Hire. That's what the sign out in front of my shop says. Pat Novak for Hire. Down here on the San Francisco waterfront, it's got to be that way. You gotta rob a few graves if you want cigarette money. You need lots of work and roomy sleeves if you're gonna play a pat hand. Sometimes, in a good week, you can duck trouble 3 or 4 days in a row. And then it creeps up on you like an old charge account. Well, I should have known that when I went to the bank. I was up to my knees in mud and didn't even know it was rainy season. It was Tuesday. I went by the bank to drop $100. It was about time, because they were beginning to play handball with my checks. Must have been about 11 o'clock when I got to the window.
Hello, Mr. Novak. Isn't it a grand morning?
If it's your choice, stay with it.
Ah, yes.
Deposit $100.
Yes. Let me get your card. It's right here, I think. Yes. Here we are.
All right. $100. Give me a duplicate, will you?
Certainly. My, this isn't as big as the last deposit.
Look, Bloomer girl, just mark the slip, huh?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Novak. I guess I'm not used to $1,000 deposits.
What $1,000?
Your Friday deposit.
I wasn't in here Friday.
Oh, you must have been. The card says you put in $1,000 on Friday.
Give me that card. What did Santa look like?
What?
Who put the dough in? What did the guy look like?
Oh, didn't you?
No. Look, we'll double back and try to hang on this time, will you? I wasn't in here Friday. I don't know anything about an extra grand. Now, what did the guy look like?
I wasn't on duty Friday.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure about the fellow today.
What fellow?
There was a man in here to ask about the account.
Did this good fairy have a name?
No, just credentials. He was from the FBI.
I see.
Is there anything wrong, Mr. Novak?
No, don't mind that complexion. I forgot my foundation cream. Oh, I should have known right then. A mysterious grand tossed into the till. I didn't wake up to trouble. But I'm a smart boy who'd be the village idiot in a town the size of New York. Well, I left the bank and went up to my apartment. That $1,000 was already drawing interest. When I came in, she was sitting on the couch drinking my whiskey. She could have all she wanted. A 1949 Panther model. Just the right amount of size 12 in a dress that looked like a well-tailored fig leaf. When she was through looking you over, you felt like the Sunday supplement.
Hello, Mr. Novak. I like your apartment.
That's good.
The view is wonderful.
So's yours. What's on your mind?
How about a drink?
All right. I'll pour, you talk.
My name is Connie Riley. Make me one, too?
Sure. As you were saying?
My name is Connie Riley.
Yeah, well, I've memorized that much. Go on. Oh, here's your drink.
Thanks. Now sit down.
All right.
Over next to me. I won't bite.
That's too bad. Go on.
Well, here's to your new bank account, Patsy.
Look, sis, if you're here just for the field trials, all right, but if you got a bill of goods, trot it out.
I will. I want that card, too, Patsy. I want it ahead of Chris.
I'll catch up with another drink. In the meantime, you fill in and help me, will you?
Stop sitting on your hands, Angel. You didn't get that $1,000 for the sweat of your brow.
No, not yet.
Somebody padded your account so you'd be a nice boy. I want you to be a nice boy for me.
At the same rates?
The Monterey Rose docks today. A passenger named Kirk Toomey is carrying a jack of clubs, and it means a lot to me.
Well, it doesn't mean a thing to me, except the FBI is on my tail.
Mr. Novak, you're turning a momentary advantage into a crowbar.
You take your deal to some other broker.
You're in business whether you like it or not, Patsy. You're going to stub your toe either way, only... To me, it'll be more fun.
How about the FBI?
You're being frightened by a group of bureaucrats.
Yeah, that's what Trotsky thought.
How much, Patsy?
Hmm?
How much for that card when you get it?
The price is $1,000.
You're an amusing guy, Patsy.
Yeah, $1,000 I can afford to be.
You don't even know what the Jack of Clubs is all about. You never heard of Kirk Toomey till 5 minutes ago, but you take things in stride as if the whole world belonged to you.
Yeah.
You're like Adam when he first spotted the Garden of Eden.
All right, little Eve, it's $1,000. Remember, you're sitting on my doorstep. Now either go on home or come in the house.
Good. I'll take the card. That's your price. Now I can relax.
I'll bet you can.
Pour me another drink, Patsy.
Yeah, sure, in a minute.
What comes next? Can I get 3 guesses?
If you got time to take them.
I won't need them all.
It's up to you. Come here, Angel. You ever hear of the early bird?
Yeah. Do I make a nice worm?
You wriggle like one.
Aren't you raising the price a little, Mr. Novak?
Straight 18%, darling.
That's too bad. I wasn't even going to scream.
The next place I live is going to be a cave. Just a minute, will you?
Hello, Novak.
Oh, Hellman.
Well. Am I interrupting anything?
No, we were just going over an old seed catalog. Miss Riley, this is Inspector Hellman, San Francisco Police.
Good morning, Inspector. Don't bother to arrest me now. I'm just leaving.
So soon?
My sentiments exactly, Inspector. Bye-bye, Patsy. You can get me at the Concord on Push Street. See you around, Patsy.
Sure.
Well, you're slipping, Novak. No rain check.
All right, funny man. What's your problem?
You ever see this guy before?
Let me see. He's an awful-looking thug.
Yeah.
Who is he, your father?
A guy by the name of Max Coleman. The FBI trailed him to your bank Friday. They think he gave you $1,000.
Yeah.
Where'd you get the $1,000, Novak?
What do you care, Hellman? Maybe a relative, maybe a maiden aunt.
Nobody's related to you, Novak. You're in a jam lover, and I'm here to put your father in. Max Coleman buys his groceries with foreign dough.
Well, what are you weeping about? Arrest the guy if you don't like him.
There's government microfilm coming in on the Monterey Roads. That $1,000 makes you a contact man for Coleman.
Send the FBI over then. Where do you fit in? Waiting for somebody to drop some loose change?
You're my project, Novak. When they asked us for help, I stuffed the ballot box to get you.
Yeah.
So relax. I'm going to spend the rest of the day here. You're not going to leave the living room.
If I got to spend the day with you, I'll take knockout drops.
Suit yourself. What's this stuff?
That's good scotch. You wouldn't know.
Oh.
The cheap liquor's out in the kitchen closet. That's for you.
All right. Over by the stove here?
That's right.
What do you keep in here, Novak?
Mops and brooms.
Where'd you buy this one?
What are you talking about?
Where'd you buy this one, smart man?
Hellman was right. I could tell right away it wasn't a mop. When Hellman pushed him out, he rolled out onto the linoleum. A dapper little guy, except for a piece of cord around his throat, tied in a funny knot. It was deader than a broken drum. Somebody had pulled too hard on that piece of cord. The veins were standing out in his forehead, and his face looked like a road map lying there on the floor. He wasn't pretty. Hellman thought so, too.
Who is he, Novak? Your father?
I've never seen him in my closet before.
Who is he, Novak?
I don't know, Hellman. Finders keepers. You roll him.
Give me a hand. There's nothing there. Where's his wallet?
You'll get there by instinct.
Yeah, here it is. His name is Kirk Toomey.
Well, that helps.
Who is he?
The guy on the Monterey Rose?
The one with the microfilm?
I guess so.
I thought you didn't know anything about it. How'd you know he came from the Monterey Rose?
My dream book, Hellman. What happens now?
Nothing. Except I'm on the case now, and you got trouble in a major key.
You don't think I killed this guy?
I don't know, did you?
You better hop out and tail that girl. She was making herself at home when I got here.
Yeah? How do I know you're not in it together?
You don't, copper. Maybe she's Loeb and I'm Leopold. When you're through with her, you might hit the Monterey and start looking for a jack of clubs.
Some more dream book, Novak?
Everybody's looking for a jack of clubs, Hellman. It must be the end of the rainbow. That's where you're going to find that microfilm.
In the meantime, you stay handy, Novak. I want to split you with the FBI.
You don't think I'm going to take the rap for Junior here, do you?
It says that in my book. Just relax until I'm ready to pick you up. I only have to find a couple of things.
Well, that'll be a long time, Hellman. You can't find your hip pocket with radar.
Yeah. I'll be around soon, Novak. Don't bother to pack your bags. You'll be traveling light.
Well, when Hellman left, I knew I was a second division club. That phony plan in the bank, the tie-up with Max Coleman, and that stiff in the kitchen made me look real bad. I had to do something in a hurry because the way things stood, I had about as much chance as a lawn party in a monsoon. There were a lot of bases to tag, so I looked up Jocko Madigan, an ex-doctor who invented the hangover. What a good guy. I finally found him over in North Beach at a little joint called Lupo's. He was eating pizza with one hand and strangling a bottle of wine with the other.
Hello, Patsy. Oh, Frank. A bottle of wine for Mr. Novak.
No, I'm short on time, Jocko.
That's where you're wrong, Patsy. People always say it, but it's a lie.
Will you calm down a minute?
You say you're short on time, but you have all the time there is. It's the one thing that keeps you from being a beggar.
Yeah.
There are only 24 hours in a day, and that gives you as much time as Napoleon or Alexander had.
Would you shut up a minute and put on that wine?
I'm celebrating, Patsy. I'm celebrating Mission Day.
Mission Day's over.
But I'm a native son. We celebrate longer.
Now, look, I'm behind the 8 ball again.
Isn't it getting kind of crowded back there? What's the matter?
Somebody strangled the guy and put him in my broom closet.
When did you find him?
I didn't. Hellman did. There's a girl named Connie Riley. Looks good for the job.
Why doesn't Hellman book her then?
He's still picking up the pieces. The dead guy is Kurt Toomey. He was set to smuggle in some microfilm. It says here I'm contact. You gotta help me, Jocko.
You've got me confused with the travel agency.
I want you to hop down to headquarters. Get all the dope you can on this guy Toomey. I'm going to look up Connie Riley.
How did she get in the picture?
What difference does it make? She's a wrestler I met this morning. Now, get on to headquarters, will you?
That's why I like you, Patsy. You're like a piece of blank verse. A bad piece of blank verse.
All right, Jocko. I'm going to make like a strip of bacon if I don't get going. Now, stay close to headquarters. If anything looks good, contact me at Connie Riley's here at this address.
All right. How many times shall I knock, lover?
I left Jocko and dropped by the apartment. I was smart and full of courage, like a field mouse at bay. The police had already been there. There was fingerprint powder all over, and the 2 bottles of whiskey were gone. They'd moved Laughing Boy out of the kitchen, so I sat down trying to add things up. I had a short list of friends to see. Connie, Max Coleman, and whoever this guy Chris was. I had to show up with one of them or prove that Kurt Toomey hung himself in my closet. I was getting ready to borrow a piece of cord myself when the phone rang. Yeah.
Hello, Novak. This is Hellman.
I'm thrilled. What's on your mind?
I just called on your girlfriend.
What'd she say?
Nothing. She wasn't there. Hasn't been there since 10 o'clock this morning.
That's funny.
Yeah? You know where she is?
How would I know?
I just thought she might be in your closet. I picked up Toomey stuff on the Monterey Road.
Yeah, what'd you find?
The usual stuff. A few clothes, some shaving equipment, razor blades, toothpaste, and a pack of playing cards.
Pack of cards. Well, you know where to go from there, Hellman.
I thought I did.
Grab that jack of clubs.
Will a 10 of hearts do?
Huh?
That's right, Novak. A nice fat deck. But the jack of clubs is missing.
Oh, you're always too little, too late, Hellman.
I just thought I'd let you know, friend, in case you start a bridge game with 53 cards in the deck. Good night.
Losing money fast, like a street carnival in Death Valley. Well, one of 2 things happened. Somebody got on that boat and took the jack of clubs while Toomey was at my apartment. Or maybe he brought it with him. If he brought it with him, Connie was a possibility. Or somebody that got there ahead of Connie. Well, anyway, I had to work fast now because whoever had that card wasn't going to put it on a Market Street float. About 10 minutes later, I cut across Union Square and up Bush Street. When I got to Connie's apartment, it was about 10 o'clock. I got in the back door and started through. She wasn't there, so I went to work looking for that jack of clubs. It was real easy. I tried the desk and then her bureau drawer. You know, that black chiffon's coming back in style because that's where I found the card. It looked nice nestling there. I put it in my pocket, and that's as far as I got.
You run the lingerie counter here, Novak?
You sound like a guy named Chris.
If it makes you feel better.
Should we put on the light?
No. Let's don't put on the light. This gun might upset you.
The police are looking for you, Chris. You need more than the dark.
I understand they're looking for you, Novak. That Riley girl kind of put you on the spot.
Tell you what I'll do, though.
Yeah, you'll give me $1,000 for the jack of clubs.
I started to say 500.
Around here, that's a whisper. And even grand, mister.
You're trying to collect too many places. Want the 500?
No, I don't.
All right. But I think you're a bum businessman.
Jocko found me catnapping on Connie's bare rug. Must have been right after the sapping. When I woke up, Jocko was thumbing my head like a housewife with a bowl of margarine. I felt around and waited for him to put the floor in again. I reached in my pocket. The jack of clubs was gone. Then I started to talk. Jocko.
Did you expect someone better?
Help me up, will you?
It helped you get up so much, I feel like one of the Wright brothers.
I just lost round 3.
Yeah, I saw him getting into the car.
Did you get a number?
Like Hellman has got yours. Here it is.
Let me see. Anything break down at homicide?
They got all the dope on Toomey. They had to piece it together. He had no fingerprint record, and they finally confirmed things with a set of false teeth.
What does it prove?
Nothing much, except you probably killed him. He was a foreign agent who picked up microfilm at Shanghai. Your girlfriend is pretty.
Did they find her?
Yeah.
Dead?
No, Patsy, you've got to stop thinking of people as being dead all the time. It's demoralizing.
What'd she say?
She denied knowing anything about Toomey.
Jocko, I'm sure she killed that guy up in my apartment. I'd stake my life on it.
Expertly put, Patsy. I think Hellman believes her. After all, she's the only lead.
What about Max Coleman, the guy that rigged my bank account? Are they letting him die on the vine?
I was getting to that. Your friend Max Coleman has disappeared.
I thought he was being tailed.
The kite got away. Here, use my aspirin.
Well, I took a boat out to the Monterey Rose, but that was a waste of time. Hellman had it covered like a tarpaulin. I still had the license number to Chris's car, but that didn't do any good. Even if I found him, all I could do was point my finger. There were still a lot of things that didn't fall into place. One of them was, how come that jack of clubs was so easy to find in Connie's apartment? She hadn't hid it very well. But after all, maybe that was a habit with her. Things didn't look any better the next morning. I went into a restaurant next to the press club for some breakfast. The Chronicle was lying on the counter. We were in second place because there was a torso murder all over page 1. That second cup of coffee saved me because right after that, I spotted it on one of the back pages, a picture and a small story about some unidentified guy who'd been killed over in Oakland. I couldn't match the picture too well with Hellman's snapshot of Max Coleman, but it looked like my best break so far. I got over to Oakland, and I went straight to the morgue. The guy in the morgue was chatty.
Which fellow you want to see?
The unidentified guy, he must have come in last night.
Sure. Down this way.
Okay.
How do you like our morgue?
One of my favorites.
It's bigger in San Francisco.
Yeah, I figured that.
Sure. Most people don't know that, but it's true. Bigger in San Francisco. And here we are. Right here. Help me slide it out.
Sure.
Roller bearings. Makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Here, let me get that sheet.
All right. Well.
Recognize him?
Yeah. What time did he die?
Coroner's report here on the toe tag. About 11 o'clock last night. 2 gunshots. 38 caliber pistol.
That's good.
Don't look good to me. Was he a friend of yours? Relative or something?
Yeah, a relative. He's my maiden aunt. It was Max Coleman, all right. But that was only half the problem. I had some of the answers, but not enough. It's like trying to weave a rug with a spinning wheel and a bucket of sand. Well, anyway, I got to a payphone and I called Jocko. I told him to run down that license number, and I headed back across the bridge. When I found Jocko, he said the car was registered in the name of Christopher Downs, who lived up on Taylor Street. Well, that was enough of a lead, so I telephoned Hellman. Took about a half a minute to draw a map.
Hello? Hellman talking.
This is Novak. You still got Connie Riley down there?
No. I saved matchboxes. Why?
When did she leave?
Last night about 9:30.
Oh, that was smart, Hellman.
Why?
You better put a guard on her front door and get up to 720 Taylor Street, the apartment of Christopher Downs.
Who's he?
A late entry. Now climb out of that coma and get going. I'll meet you up there in 10 minutes.
720 Taylor Street?
Yeah, it's up on the hill.
That's good, Novak. I can roll you all the way down.
When Jocko and I got up to Downs' apartment, there was nobody home. I said a fast prayer for Connie, and I began going through Downs' stuff for a .38 caliber revolver. Jocko was looking, too, over in the liquor cabinet. That's as far as we got.
Scavenger hunt, Mr. Novak?
Hello, Chris. You haven't seen the .38 around?
Just one. That's in my pocket.
The same one that killed Max Coleman?
You're going to run out of breath, Novak. Slow down.
I'm in second already, mister. I can't stop.
Then you won't mind a short ride. Out the door and down the back stairs.
Should we bring the lap robe?
There's nothing to worry about. It's a short trip. You won't even have to wire the folks.
We went down the back way and into the garage next door. We started for a big car in the corner.
All right. Get in. Out the airport road, Joe.
Sure.
Now relax, Novak. From here, you look like a duck in the pond. All right, Joe.
Watch out, Joe. Joe! Watch out, there's another car coming in.
You're right, Chris. It was a short ride.
You all right, Novak?
Stop acting like the mother hen, Hellman. Take this guy's gun.
All right, mister, get out. Who is he?
Christopher Downs. He killed Max Coleman last night.
Does he convince you, mister? Not entirely.
Well, that .38 will. The Oakland police have 2 slugs that fit that gun. You need more?
No. I'm afraid you've got all the trumps, Novak.
All right, let's go, you.
Let's see you earn it, copper.
Stop him, Novak!
He ain't going far. Well, Hellman, now you can arrest him for jaywalking.
Yeah.
It's too bad. He could have told you a lot about that stuff in my closet. Well, go pick him up, Hellman, and don't forget that jack of clubs in his pocket. Well, it worked out all right. I left Hellman, dropped by headquarters to leave a note, and I went home to my apartment. Connie was there. The whiskey was out again. Oh, she looked real good sitting there in a white crepe dress. It was one of those tight-fitting babies that make a bathing suit look like a toga. I told her all about Chris and Max Coleman, and we forgot about everything but the Olympics. When she put her arms around you, it was a real squeeze. It felt like an old tube of shaving cream. I was pouring a drink when the doorbell rang. Hello, Hellman.
You ready, Novak?
Sure. Well, don't stand there gaping. Arrest her for murder.
Wait a minute. Slow down, Patsy.
Sorry, chum. It's you or me.
Now, be a nice boy.
I am. That's why you go to Hellman.
Come on, lady.
You think of an answer for that guy that you left in my closet?
I didn't leave any guy in your closet.
You'll have to say it louder, baby. They found the store you bought the cord.
That cord came out of your kitchen.
You're a big mouth, Connie.
Yeah. You can put that in boldface. How did you know?
You're the only one who could have taken that jack of clubs here in the apartment. That and one other thing.
Yeah?
That knot in the cord was a funny knot. You got an elastic garter there. It's too big, so you tied a knot in it. The same funny knot that choked Kirk Tooney.
You're a funny guy, Novak. You're nice. But you're hard to handle. I should have killed you and married you. Ready, Hellman?
Jack of Clubs was a phony right from the start. Somebody told Kirk Toomey to deal with me. When he came to my apartment, Connie was waiting. She got jumpy and killed him. I got there too soon, so she had to stall me off. When she got home, she found out that the Jack of Clubs was a phony. She left it in plain sight, and Chris gobbled up the bait. When he discovered there was no microfilm, he went gunning for Max Coleman. Max was an innocent thief lying low, waiting to buy it from me. So, all three of them were after a phony card. I began to suspect it was phony because everybody hung around. If it was the McCoy, Connie would have cleared out. Same for Chris. The microfilm? Well, it was in Hellman's desk, but he didn't know it. Jocko finally tumbled. The report said that Kirk Toomey had false teeth. And when Hellman picked up his stuff on the ship, it was a tube of toothpaste. You don't clean false teeth with toothpaste. Word must have gotten around that the microfilm was inside that Jack of Clubs, so Kirk crossed him up and put it in the tube of toothpaste. Well, that's all except they canceled my $1,000 deposit. Hellman said it was lucky I noticed her garter. Lucky? Well, she had to straighten her seams, didn't she?
The American Broadcasting Company has just brought you the second of a new series, Pat Novak For Hire, starring Jack Webb. Jocko Madigan is played by Tudor Owen. Inspector Hellman is played by Raymond Burr. Music was composed and conducted by Radio and Television Life Award winner Basil Adlam. In our cast were Freddie Lou Gerson, Victor Perrin, Ted DeCorsia, and Herb Butterfield. Today we're happy to welcome a new member of the ABC family, as station KARM in Fresno, California, joins our network. And now this is George Fenneman reminding you to be with us again next week, when over most of these same ABC stations, we'll bring you Pat Novak For Hire. This program came to you from Hollywood. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
Ladies and gentlemen, this program is for you, not your children. The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A woman and her 2-year-old child disappears suddenly. There's no apparent reason for it. 5 days pass. No trace of them. Your job? Find them. Webster's Dictionary. Definition of the word compare.
Compare. Examine for purpose of discovering resemblance or difference.
Now, let's compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
The resemblance. Fatimas are the same length as other king-size cigarettes, 85 millimeters. Fatima has the same circumference, 1 1/64 inches around.
And Fatima filters the smoke exactly the same long distance as other king-size cigarettes.
The difference. In Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima contains the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. You get all the advantages of extra length plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has.
So compare Fatima yourself. Your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Buy Fatima. Best of all long cigarettes.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, April 20th. It was overcast in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Blaine Steed. My name's Freddie. I was on the way back from communications, and it was 1:35 p.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
Hi, Joe. What's doing?
Oh, not much, Mac. Where'd Ben go?
Inside, Captain's office. Be right back.
Oh, thank you. Keeping you busy?
Well, about the same. A little hectic around the house, though.
Well, that's right. Ben mentioned something about that. You're getting ready for a wedding out there, aren't you?
Yeah, my daughter Alice. Sure getting a nice fella.
Well, that's all.
Yeah, ambitious kid. Part-time accountant. Goes to law school at night down Loyola. Real nice fella.
Mm-hmm. When are you getting married?
Week from Saturday. It's going to be a big church thing. Sure glad it doesn't happen often.
Oh, how do you mean?
Big production. Never saw so many bills in my life. New dress for Alice, going away luggage, bridesmaids' dresses, eats, drinks, new carpet for the hall, new curtains in the living room. Wife must think I'm made of this stuff.
Well, you should have had all boys, May.
Yeah.
You're giving your daughter away, huh?
Yeah. Well, that reminds me, I got to be sure and send my suit to cleaners, get a good press job on it. Sure is funny.
Huh? What's that?
It seems for years the wife's been afraid we'd never get Alice married off. Now it's finally in the works, the wife's still unhappy.
Oh, well, how's that?
Goes around moping around the house, wiping at her eyes, keeps muttering something about losing her little girl is leaving her. I don't know.
Well, how old's your daughter?
32. Well, I'll be down in Stats office if anybody wants me.
Right, Mac.
Oh, pardon me, Ben.
Excuse me, I didn't see you.
Okay.
Hi, where you been?
Making a couple of phone calls. I think we might have something.
Yeah, what's that?
The Gorman case. Had a call from one of their neighbors while you were gone. Where's that calendar of ours?
Gee, I don't know. Well, here, I got one in my pocket here in my wallet.
Oh, right.
Here you are.
Well, thanks. Well, let's see now. Mrs. Gorman and her little girl Nancy disappeared on the 15th. Is that right?
Yeah, Thursday. Why?
And the husband, Mr. Gorman, filed a missing complaint on Friday morning, right?
Yeah. What are you getting at?
Well, you remember when we talked to Mr. Gorman, he couldn't think of any reason why his wife and his little girl should disappear like they did.
Yeah.
Remember me asking him the question if his wife ran around at all, if she was interested in any other man?
That's right. He told you no, didn't he?
Well, this man who just called in, he lives out in the Gorman neighborhood. He swears up and down that Mrs. Gorman was keeping company with another man.
Well, who is this neighbor, anyway?
Name's John Pearson. He lives about 4 blocks from the Gormans.
Well, we talked to neighbors a lot closer than that to the Gormans. They didn't seem to know anything about it. What else did this guy tell you?
Well, let's see. The man Mrs. Gorman was supposed to be running out with is a Ralph Kane. He lives next door to Mr. Pearson.
Well, how'd this Pearson sound to you?
Pretty typical neighborhood watchdog. But here's the interesting part. Mrs. Gorman and little daughter Nancy disappeared last Thursday. Now, according to Pearson, this Ralph Kane hasn't been seen around since Friday night. He told me on the phone he saw Kane toss a couple of suitcases in his car late Friday night and drive off. Said he hasn't come back yet.
Yeah, it might be something. Well, how much of a romance was Mrs. Gorman supposed to be having with this Ralph Kane?
Well, it's pretty heavy, according to Pearson. Said it's been going on for 6 months anyhow.
And Mr. Gorman didn't know anything about it?
He got me there. If he did, he didn't let us in on it. What if he'd have any reason to cover it up?
Well, it's possible, I guess. Didn't want the scandal. How sure are you that Ralph Kane's really missing? Might be just off on a weekend. Huh?
No, I checked the place he worked. He's a printer. Didn't show up for work Monday. Didn't show up today either.
No message, no excuse?
Nothing. I called a friend of Kane's that Pearson knew about. Friend doesn't know where he's gone.
Well, I guess we better get on. It's the first decent lead in 5 days. Huh?
Yeah. Just thinking, Joe. Neighbors like Pearson.
Uh-huh.
What would we do without him?
5 days before, on a Thursday evening, a Mr. Philip Gorman returned to his home in the Westlake district of Los Angeles to find his wife, Barbara Gorman, and his 2-year-old daughter, Nancy, missing. There wasn't any note, no explanation of any kind. A few clothes were gone. Mr. Gorman filed a missing report, and a broadcast and an APB were gotten out on the mother and daughter. Neighbors, friends, and relatives were checked. No leads. Routine investigation failed to turn up anything. Mr. Gorman could give us no explanation for the disappearance. After 3 days, we got out a radiogram. Still no results. Tuesday, 1:50 p.m., Ben and I got in the car and drove out to see John Pearson, who'd phoned in the information about Mrs. Gorman's supposed boyfriend, Ralph Kane. We found Pearson out on the back porch of his home, feeding some milk to a pair of house cats.
I thought everybody knew that, Sergeant. Mrs. Gorman running around with that Ralph Kane. I'm no busybody. I wouldn't have mentioned it all if this hadn't happened.
You say Kane had been seeing Mrs. Gorman for the last 6 months. Is that right, Mr. Pearson?
About 6 months. That's how long I've seen it go on. And James, don't be such a hog. Let Fred have some of the milk, too. Greedy little devils.
Do you know of anybody else in the neighborhood who's been aware of this, Mr. Pearson? I mean, Mrs. Gorman and this Ralph Kane?
Well, I know for sure that Thelma White next door knows about it. She's mentioned it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Kane used to park with Mrs. Gorman near that vacant lot by Thelma's house. Those were the nights that Mr. Gorman was working late.
Would you know if Mr. Gorman was aware of this, that his wife was running around with another man?
I'm pretty sure he did, Sergeant. That's the strange part about it.
Well, how do you know, sir?
For George, the man who delivers the groceries, he just happened to mention it to me once.
Mm-hmm.
All right, James. Right, it's all gone. Now run off and play. Yes, George, the grocer man, he made a delivery to the Gormans once and heard them rowing about it. George said Mr. Gorman was very mad, talked divorce, all that sort of thing.
Well, how about the Gorman's little girl, Mr. Pearson, little Nancy?
Tragic, Sergeant. Such a sweet little thing. Mrs. Gorman kept her under an iron hand. Imagine, the little girl's only 2 years old. Mrs. Gorman was after her with a stick all the time. She's not much of a mother. Not the way I look at it, anyway.
Well, what's your opinion of all this? Do you think that Ralph Kane has run off with Miss Gorman?
Well, what else can you think? 2 of them carry on for 6 months. Mrs. Gorman disappears Thursday. Mr. Kane leaves Friday night. What else can you think?
This neighbor of yours, Thelma White, does she live in this house over here, over on the right?
Yeah, that's right next door. You go over and talk to her. She's home now. Thelma will tell you the same thing I did.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Not at all, Sergeant. Just one thing I can't understand about Mrs. Gorman's little girl, little Nancy.
Yeah?
Can't quite understand why she's gone. Doesn't seem to fit somehow.
How do you mean?
If you're going to run off with a man, you don't take your family along.
2:15 p.m. We went next door and talked with the neighbor, Thelma White. She told us the same story as Pearson. From the 2 of them, we got the description. DMV furnished us with the license number of Ralph Kane's car. We checked further with Kane's friends, relatives, and his landlady. No one had seen or heard from him since late Friday. We searched the duplex where he lived. No leads. We went back to the office and checked Kane through R&I. He had 1 arrest for petty theft. We got out a broadcast and an APB on him. Well, that night, Ben and I drove out to see the husband and father of the missing woman and youngster, Philip Gorman. He was employed as a groundskeeper at one of the baseball parks in the city.
Pretty fair turnout tonight, huh?
Yeah. Weather's cleared up a little. Probably helped, huh? Where's the groundskeeper shack? Down at the end there?
Yeah, you can't see it from here. It's just below the end of the bleachers there.
Well, you come out here very often?
Not as often as I'd like to. It's down this way.
Okay.
Watch your step there, Joe. Is a mud puddle?
Yeah, I see it.
Sorry, you'll have to get back in the stands. You're not allowed down this end.
Hurry, Mr. Gorman, Freddie and Romero. You remember that?
Yeah, sure. I didn't recognize you for a minute.
You got a few minutes, Mr. Gorman? We'd like to talk to you if we could.
We're sure right now if you want. You found out something about the wife, little girl?
No, sir, nothing definite. Got a few questions we'd like to ask you.
Well, that's fine with me. I got nothing to do for a couple more innings. What's it all about?
Well, when we talked to you at your house the other day, Gorman, you remember me asking if you could think of any reason why your wife and your little girl should disappear like you did?
Yeah, I remember. There's nothing I can think of, Sergeant.
Do you recall us asking you if your wife might have been interested in some other man, somebody she might go off with?
Yeah, I remember all that. I told you I didn't think that was it.
Now, look, if you know something and you're not telling us because you don't want the scandal, you can forget that, Gorman, because whatever you tell us is in strict confidence, you know.
I don't know what you mean, Sergeant. I told you everything I know.
Well, we'll be honest with you, Gorman. We think you're trying to cover up.
Well, that's not true. I don't have anything to cover up.
We picked up some new information on your wife this afternoon. We hear she was pretty friendly with a man named Ralph Kane. Lives a few blocks from your house. We hear that you knew what was going on. You and your wife, Barbara, had a row. You talked divorce. How about it?
Well, let's go inside the shack here, huh? Get away from some of this noise?
Fine, sure.
I hope you don't mind it in here. It's a little dirty. I keep all the maintenance stuff in here.
That's all right, Gorman. Now, how about Ralph Kane?
Yeah. I knew about it. It's like you said, all the scandal. I just didn't want it to get out.
Well, look, if you're going to hold out on us, it's not going to help much to find your wife and little girl.
Yeah, I know, Sergeant. I just didn't want people to find out what a bum I married him. You know what some neighbors are like.
Mm-hmm.
I can't understand how it happened. I met the wife when I was in the Army.
I see.
I brought her back out here. Everything was fine. After the baby was born, she started to change. Nothing satisfied her. She began to run around. Nothing but a bum, but I guess I found out too late.
Well, now, this Ralph Kane, what do you know about him?
Well, he's a single guy. Works at a print shop downtown. He's a pretty good-looking guy. He's got money to spend. That's all Barbara cares about.
Well, what's your idea about it?
Huh?
You think Kane and your wife have gone off together?
Well, to tell you the truth, I'm not sure. Maybe they did. I've been trying to check around them all. I'm not getting very far. There's only one thing I'm really worried about. That's my little girl, Nancy. I don't care what my wife does or how far she goes. I just want my little girl back, that's all.
Have you any idea at all where your wife might have gone?
No, none at all. She didn't know California too well. She's only been out here a year.
Mm-hmm. You don't know any of Kane's friends, his hangouts, or places you think he might go?
No. Well, I never even met the guy, Sergeant. I'm going to, though. I know what he looks like. I'll meet him.
Well, there's just one more thing, Gorman. If your wife was set on running off with another man, why did she take your little girl with her? She wasn't too devoted to the baby, I understand.
Yeah, that's right. That's what's got me worried. The only thing I can figure out is the wife hated me more than I thought. She knew that I thought Nancy was about the greatest thing alive. I guess rather than let me have her, she took Nancy along with her.
Was it possible she might drop the baby off with some friend or relative and tell them to keep
her? Well, I've checked on that already, Sergeant. You got the names of all the people we know. I'm sure they'd get in touch with me if they had names.
Well, we'll double-check them anyhow.
All right.
Well, if there's anything else comes up, you let us know right away, huh?
All right, Sergeant. It's just the baby, that's all, Nancy. As far as I'm concerned, my wife never lived. It's kind of hard to take, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I think you got the finest setup in the world. Nice home, job, baby, good furniture, everything you need.
Yeah.
Everything but a wife.
The search for the missing wife and the 2-year-old daughter went on. The broadcasts and teletypes on Mrs. Gorman and Ralph Kane failed to net us a thing. A week passed. There were no leads. Another week went by. Nothing. The half-dozen replies we'd gotten on our teletype went nowhere. They were blind leads. Wednesday, May 5th. We got a call from the manager of an auto court in the south end of the city. He told us that a man, a woman, and a little girl, answering the description of the missing trio, had stopped at his place the night before. Along with Jack McCready from Homicide, Ben and I drove out and interviewed the man. We showed him pictures of Kane, Mrs. Gorman, and 2-year-old Nancy. He identified all three. He could give us no idea where they'd gone. We checked through the cottage where they stayed.
No, nothing. Just about as clean as you can get.
There's something here.
What's that?
Look here. Kid's picture book. Let's see. Yeah, take a look right here.
Oh, this book belongs to Nancy Gorman. Well, we know they were here. That's about it.
Hey, Ben? Joe?
Yeah, Mac. Where are you?
Out the back. Come here.
All right.
What have you got?
Come here. Have a look.
Where'd you find that?
Poking around this trash barrel here. Looks like part of a little girl's dress, huh?
Yeah, there's not much there. Did you find the rest of her?
Well, that's all there is, just that little collar.
Take a look here, Ben. These stains right here, over here, too.
Yeah. What do you think?
Mac? Blood stains?
I'd say so.
We drove back to the office to the crime lab and had Lee Jones run the stains on the dress. He ran a benzidine test and then a biological precipitant. The stains were made by human blood. Well, it still didn't put us any closer to the missing child or her mother. The search went on. We redoubled our efforts. No luck. Another 10 days passed. We had a few more responses to our all-points bulletin, but none of them panned out. On May 16th, we got 2 more leads to check out. They went nowhere. We got back to the office a little after 6 p.m.
Better call Mr. Gorman after we check in, huh? Keep him off our backs.
Yeah, I hate to keep telling him the same thing. No word.
Yeah.
How about it? You call Gorman tonight, huh?
All right. Matt, what's doing?
Got something for you. Sheriff's substation called, East L.A.
Now, what about?
The Gorman case. They found him.
Where?
Another auto court right there in East L.A. Ralph Kane and Mrs. Gorman. They got them both under surveillance.
How about the little girl, Nancy?
Well, that's a hitch.
Huh?
No sign of her.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic cases from official files. Now, let's look at our Fatima files.
Listed under H. Hardwick. Cedric Hardwick, distinguished actor. He says,
I find Fatima a very pleasing cigarette. It has a distinctly better flavor.
K. Kelly. Nancy Kelly, star of the Broadway hit Season in the Sun. She says,
between scenes and after the show, I like to relax in my dressing room and light up a Fatima. They have a really different flavor. And what's important to me, they're extra mild.
Listed under L. Lovett. Vice Admiral Leland P. Lovett, United States Navy, retired. He says,
I smoked Fatimas when I was a midshipman. I still do, because they have a better flavor and aroma. Fatima is easily the best of all long cigarettes.
Friends, our files show Fatima sales are going up. Up every day.
The reason for Fatima's ever-increasing popularity can be summed up in 2 words. Fatima quality.
Yes, Fatima gives you all the advantages of extra length, plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has.
So, if you smoke a king-size cigarette, compare Fatima.
You'll find they now cost the same, but your first puff will tell you.
Ah, that's different.
Because in Fatima, the difference is quality. Buy Fatima. Best of all long cigarettes.
Saturday, May 16th, 9 p.m. Along with Levinson and McCready from Homicide, Ben and I drove out to the sheriff's substation in the east end of the city. One of the deputy sheriffs directed us to the motor court where Mrs. Barbara Gorman and Ralph Kane were under surveillance. We found the 2 of them in one of the rear cottages. There was no trace of 2-year-old Nancy Gorman. Levinson and McCready took Ralph Kane out to the car to interrogate him. Ben and I remained in the cottage with Mrs. Gorman. She was a tall blonde, thin-faced and nervous. She spoke with a decided accent. We questioned her for more than 2 hours. We got nowhere.
Why don't you sit down, Mrs. Gorman? Relax.
How can anyone relax? These questions. You have no right to do this.
Well, maybe you haven't got it straight, Miss Gorman. This is a pretty important matter. We'd like to find out about your little girl.
I told you I don't know. She ran away.
Yes, ma'am. Now, we've had 10 different versions. You stopped at a hotel in Nevada and she disappeared. You were at an auto court in Bakersfield. She ran away during the night. We've heard just about all of them. Now, how about the truth?
I've told you everything I'm going to tell you. I don't know what's happened to the kid. She's gone, that's all. She's gone.
Got to be an explanation for it. Where is she gone?
She ran away. How many times do I have to tell you? I left with Ralph. We went out of the city. After a few days, Nancy got lonesome. She wanted to see her father. We were asleep one night, and she ran away. That's all there is to it. Simple. Why can't you understand?
Well, you're going to have to do better than that, Miss Gorman. Now, how about the truth? What happened?
You can't keep me here all night. Where's Ralph? I want Ralph.
Why'd you take the child with you in the first place, Miss Gorman? It's pretty obvious that you didn't want her. Did Kane want you to take her along?
Oh, no. He wanted me to leave her. Just he and I. That's all he wanted. Should have left her there, all this trouble, questions.
There's an easy remedy, ma'am. What'd you really do with the little girl?
She wandered off. It's the truth. We didn't know it. She wandered off. We couldn't help it.
How about the little dress we found in that auto court with stains on it?
Same questions. You always ask the same questions.
What about the dress, ma'am?
Do I always have to repeat? I told you. Ralph got his hand. He was shaving. It was just an old dress, a rag. Ralph bandaged his hand with it.
Well, you usually wear bandages a while, don't you? Don't just throw them away.
It was only a scratch. You didn't need the rag very long.
Quite a few stains on the dress, ma'am. Must have been more than just a scratch.
No, it was just a scratch. Can't you believe anything I say?
No, not so far.
Please. Can't I go outside for a few minutes? I have a headache. It's so hot in here.
All right, Miss Gorman.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, thanks.
The air, it's so good. Terrible headache.
You mind telling us something, Mrs. Gorman?
Please, can't you let me alone for a minute?
Why did you leave your husband?
Him? Any woman would leave him. It's Raph. I love Raph.
And your little girl, what about her?
My husband wanted her, not me. I'm just not like that. I didn't want her in the first place. It was a mistake, a terrible mistake.
Is that why you got rid of her?
What?
Now, it's pretty obvious by this time, ma'am. When you left your husband, you took your little girl along for spite. Kane didn't want her. You found out you didn't need her, so you got rid of her. Now, is that it?
I didn't say that. You're putting words in my mouth. I didn't say that at all.
Joe, Ben?
Yeah, Mac, over here.
Kane's given us half the story. Shouldn't be too hard to get the rest.
It's a lie. There's no story to tell. Nancy ran away. That's all we know.
Mac?
Kane says they tried some kind of a death pact. He and Mrs. Gorman here got in a room and turned on the gas.
He didn't tell you. He didn't tell you.
Afraid so, ma'am. That's your boyfriend's story.
What else, Mac?
Well, as I say, Kane and Mrs. Gorman got in the room, agreed to end it all. They had a little girl with them in the room.
Well, why was that?
Kane says he doesn't know. Seemed to simplify things having the kid with him.
He tell you what happened?
Yeah, they turned on the gas.
No. Don't. Never mind.
Miss Gorman?
Never mind. You don't have to say it.
You want to tell us about it? Miss Gorman?
Yes. I'll tell you.
3 a.m. We went back inside the cottage at the auto court. We gave her a cigarette, and Barbara Gorman sat down and told us the story. 4 days after she'd left with her 2-year-old daughter and Ralph Kane, she knew she'd made a mistake. She admitted that she never should have taken the child. She said the little girl seemed to be in their way all the time. Kane was all for deserting the child or sending her back to her father. Mrs. Gorman wouldn't agree to it, just out of pure spite. One night in an auto court, she and Kane had a big drinking party. They brooded over the mix-up that they'd gotten themselves into. Kane didn't have any money to get married. He knew he'd lost his job. Even if they could get married, Mrs. Gorman wasn't sure she could get a divorce. Another full day and night of drinking, and they decided on a lover's death pact. They turned on the gas.
I don't get it, Mrs. Gorman. Why'd you have your little girl in the room with you? Why didn't you leave her with somebody, with anybody?
Why? She was mine, wasn't she? I thought we could go together, all three of us, but it didn't work that way.
Well, what happened?
Well, Raph and I woke up. Throats were burning. My eyes were burning. I looked over at Nancy. She wasn't moving. It was just like she was asleep.
Well, what'd you do then?
We got in the car and left. We found a nice place in the desert. There were nice flowers there. We buried Nancy.
How about you and Ralph Kane? You knew you were in deeper. Why didn't you try it again?
Oh, we did, a couple of times. We loved each other. It's the only thing we could do, but every time we tried, we couldn't go through with it. We'd try. We never could finish it. Ralph got a job. We were going to buy a gun. Tomorrow, we'd try again.
Can you show us where you buried your little girl?
Yes. Place in the desert, out near Palm Springs. It was a nice place. There's lots of nice flowers around. You understand, don't you? We were in love, Raph and I.
Yeah.
My husband wouldn't understand. The way I loved Raph. It was everything. It was the whole world. Raph and I. I didn't mean it that way for Nancy. It was a mistake. You've got to understand I didn't mean it that way.
That's the way it is.
It doesn't matter. You can't hurt us, not Raph and I. You can't take away what we've got. You'll never take that away.
All right. You want to get your coat?
Yes. It doesn't matter what happens. It's for Raph. I don't care what they do. I'll keep on loving him. The same way I love him now. It doesn't matter. We'll pay for our mistakes.
Yeah, lady. They're going to cost you. At 5 a.m., we put in a call for Lieutenant Lee Jones and the crime lab crew and the coroner. When they arrived at the auto court, we drove to the spot in the desert near Palm Springs where Ralph Kane and Mrs. Gorman pointed out the spot where they buried Nancy. The body was uncovered at the exact spot. It was taken back to town to the county morgue, where an autopsy was performed. Kane and Mrs. Gorman were booked on suspicion of murder. By 5 o'clock that afternoon, we had the results of the autopsy.
Yeah, Doctor. Uh-huh. Right. Thank you. Bye.
What's the story, Mac?
Not what we thought.
How do you mean?
I think Mrs. Gorman sold us a bill of goods. Little girl didn't die in a room full of gas.
What'd the doc say?
He found 2 bullet holes in the body.
That night, after hours of interrogation, Ralph Kane and Mrs. Barbara Gorman both broke down and confessed that they'd killed the child in cold blood. They pleaded drunkenness, that they weren't responsible for their actions. They were returned to their cells and held without bail. The child's father, Philip Gorman, was notified. The following morning, Ben and I accompanied him to the county morgue.
It's this way, Mr. Gorman. Oh, thanks.
You sure you want to go through with it, sir? Mr. Gorman?
Well, I might as well tell you the truth. I'm not sure I do.
It isn't going to help much, Mr. Gorman. Believe me, it isn't.
I just wanted to see you just once more.
Yeah, well, it doesn't work out. Wouldn't be the same. Not the way you remember it.
Just wanted to see. I just wanted to find out.
What's that?
About her mother, Ralph Kane. What is it that can make them do it? Little girl, she's only 2. What can make anybody do a thing like that?
Your wife called it love.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On September 10th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 89, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, tonight you've heard just a few of the reasons why you should smoke Fatima. It sums up this way. Fatima gives you all the advantages of extra length plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has. Tomorrow, buy Fatima in the golden yellow package. Remember, they're extra mild with a different, better flavor and aroma.
Mrs. Barbara Gorman and Ralph Donald Kane were tried and convicted in Superior Court of murder in the first degree. Mrs. Gorman was sentenced to life imprisonment. Kane received the death penalty. He was executed at the State Penitentiary, San Quentin, California.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Bill of Rights section of the United States Constitution protects our freedom. Today, that freedom is endangered by tyranny and aggression. Every American must help make our free government an example to all peoples by dedicating himself to a constant, active citizenship. Freedom needs you.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Stay tuned for Counter Spy, next over most NBC stations.
My name's Regan. I work for Anthony J. Lyon, Detective Bureau. They call me the Lion's Eye. Sunday at 8:30, and CBS brings you Jeff Regan, Investigator, starring Frank Graham as Regan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. So stand by for mystery and suspense and adventure in tonight's transcribed story, They've Got More Than Coffee in Brazil. Her name was Irene Centino. The lady from Brazil, the Lion called her. He figured it for an easy trace job, something for missing persons. Only when we do them, the Lion gets paid. Well, the program said it was simple. Except before we wound it up, there were a couple of added attractions. a doctor who didn't do any doctoring, a nurse with a built-in temperature, and a couple of blackouts that were meant to be permanent. And guess what? In that last part, I was supposed to be the star. Anyhow, it all began late last Monday. I was home. My boss, Anthony J. Lyon, knocked on my door. I opened it. And that's when I made my first mistake.
Jeffrey, I'm glad I found you in. I'm just on my way home from the office.
You could have kept on going. I'm out of bourbon.
Oh, now, Jeffrey, I didn't come by just for that. You got anything else?
Nope.
All right. As a matter of fact, I want your advice, Regan.
Cut out starches and get some exercise.
Yes.
What else?
Yeah, what would you do if you traveled 10,000 miles just to see your sister and then couldn't find her?
I'd give up the search.
You would? Why?
I haven't got a sister.
That's not what I'm talking about. You'd go to missing persons, wouldn't you? Sure you would. But if you knew your family in a foreign country would become greatly alarmed at this sort of notoriety, you'd look for your sister in another way. You'd hire a good private detective. Now, isn't that right?
Come on, Fatso, get to the point.
We have a new client. Her name's Irene Centino. She's from Brazil. Real fine family, Regan. Coffee. She's engaged the Lion Detective Bureau to locate her younger sister, Carmen.
I'm no St. Bernard.
You'll do till I can feed one. Oh, I know you've been working hard lately, but, Jeffrey, this is one of those occasions when I'm proud to be a part of our profession. We have an opportunity to help a young lady in desperate straits and, at the same time, secure goodwill from South America.
Ever hear of the State Department?
Of course I have. But they can't do it all alone. It's up to individual citizens to take responsibility, too.
And that's the only reason you want me to find her sister?
Absolutely. Now, Miss Centino is taking an apartment at this address. Here, go see her, comfort her, let her know the Lion Detective Bureau and the United States of America will do everything possible to locate her lost sister.
That all?
That's enough.
What'd she pay you?
$200.
Yeah. That's a lot of green to get in advance.
She insisted. She's very anxious to find that girl.
Well, watch out her check doesn't bounce.
It won't. She paid cash.
The $200 was already making a lump in the lion's coat, and I knew the next spot for it was his mattress. Well, maybe that's the reason he's a bachelor. I left him in my place and drove over to the address he'd given me. It was one of those Beverly Hills apartments with a long, glassy look. Irene Centino's apartment was on the second floor. She was a tall, brown-haired girl without a smile. She wore glasses. And when she talked, she sounded sad, like a banjo player with a paper pick.
Thank you so much for coming over, Mr. Regan. I've been very upset all day. I just had to do something about Carmen.
Your sister?
Yes, my younger sister. She's the one I came here to see.
Yeah, I heard.
It's an awful vacant feeling. I thought she'd meet me at the airport, and then she wasn't there. And when I went to her address, we were very close.
She's from Rio, too?
Yes, of course.
How's her English?
Well, the same as mine. We were both educated in the United States.
Where?
Back east. Vassar.
You older than Carmen?
Yes, 2 years. She's 25 now. Carmen left home a year ago, you see. She's always been very independent, and well, I'm afraid something might have happened to her.
Like what?
Well, I don't know. Young girl, pretty, I don't know. And as I say, she's so independent. I received this letter from her a few days ago. It was the first word since she left home.
It came this way?
Well, yes.
No envelope?
Oh, well, I threw that away. She wrote her address there at the end, and I didn't see any need for keeping the envelope.
And, she wasn't at this address?
That's what frightens me. There isn't any such address.
Yeah. What does your sister Carmen look like?
Why, I gave her a snapshot to Mr. Lyon. Didn't he give it to you?
He forgets things.
Oh, no matter. I have another. Of course, it's old and not very good. I think it's right here in this suitcase. You'll pardon things going all over, but I haven't had time to do anything. Oh, here it is. Right here.
Ah, she's blonde, huh?
Well, a little lighter than mine. We're the same height, too. We used to wear each other's clothes. Oh, Mr. Regan, you will be able to find her, won't you?
I don't think you want me to.
Mr. Regan, are you trying to be funny?
You hand me a snapshot so old it could be anybody and a letter that says nothing, and you want me to turn up a blonde.
I thought those would be leads. She mentions the name of a doctor. I thought you
Is he the man?
The man?
She left home a year ago. She wasn't following the crops.
I don't know what you're talking about.
There was a man in it. If I'm going to do any good, I've got to have it all, lady.
All right, there was a man.
Yeah.
His name was Frank Martin. I met him once in Mexico City. She thought she was in love with him. But he has nothing to do with it, Mr. Regan. I'm sure he has nothing to do with it.
How do you know?
Because I looked him up. He lives out on Laurel Avenue.
You talked to him?
No, but I asked questions around. I'm completely satisfied he knows nothing about it. Look, if you'd see this doctor my sister mentioned...
You want me to find your sister?
Yes.
But you don't want me to see this Frank Martin.
I didn't say that.
You didn't have to, lady. Okay. You got a report when I got something. Oh, there's one more thing.
What's that?
How long did you stop off on the way to shop in New York?
What makes you think I'd do that?
Labels. When you leave your clothes strewn around, labels show. There's no Saks Fifth Avenue in Rio. When I walked out, her mouth was wide open like she was trying to scream. Only nothing came out. I hung around the door outside for a minute to see if she'd use the phone. But when nothing happened, I looked up Frank Martin in the city directory and drove over to Laurel. A 2-story apartment building the color of a bride's blush. It was wrapped around a swimming pool, too small for people, too big for birds. Martin's name wasn't on the mailbox, so I tried the manager's door. His voice sounded like a beer truck in low gear.
Well, come on in, Pilgrim. You don't know me, do you?
I just got here.
I played the Palace in 26. Oh, them was the days.
Write it up. Sell at the movies.
Oh, them slobs. Central Casting ain't called me in 4 years.
You got a card?
AFRA, SAG, and the Musicians Union. I play the French horn. None of them call me. Now, I figure it's television. No union yet, but... by the way, what are you doing here, buddy?
Looking for a man named Frank Martin.
Now, look, I like Frank. You got trouble, stay away from him. He bruises easy.
And you're just a mother to him.
He's a nice laddie. Remember what I tell you, huh?
Sure.
Come on, I'll show you.
Thanks.
That's him.
He stays in one key.
All the time. A low one.
Sounds like.
Second door on the right.
Thanks.
See ya, Pilgrim.
Come on in. It's unlocked.
Your name Frank Martin?
Yep. Who wants to know?
My name's Regan. I'm a private investigator with Lion Detective Bureau.
Wrong steer, Gumshoe. I don't need one.
I'm not looking for work. I'm looking for you.
What'd you say it was? Regan?
Yeah.
R-E-G-A-N? Regan? Regan. Just wrote that one. Cute, huh?
I'm, looking for a friend of yours.
A second ago you were looking for me. Now you're looking for a friend of mine. Frank Martin never had a friend. Who are we talking about?
Carmen Santino.
Oh. How is Carmen these days?
I don't know.
Thought you said you were a detective.
I did.
You sound like an amateur.
You sound like a guy with a chip on his shoulder.
I sound like a lot of things. You trying to get tough, baby?
I figures why your name isn't on the mailbox.
Yeah?
Nobody'd ever write you.
I'll, skip that, Regan. Who hired you to do what?
Her sister's in town. She's looking for Carmen.
Didn't know Carmen had a sister. What else?
You're the boyfriend. Where is she?
Yeah, the boyfriend. That's real good. Let me tell you what Carmen's like, Regan. Eyes just right. Hair just right. Everything just right. Everything just right. Wait till you see her in a bathing suit. That's something, brother.
She, isn't wearing one in this picture.
Bad picture, Regan. You got no idea how bad. Hardly looks like her, like she is. Ever met him like that?
Sometimes.
About a year ago, I was sitting right here and the phone rings. It's Carmen. You know, we talked about football, marriage. We were going to be married, Regan, only she decided all of a sudden she didn't want it. Just like that. It was her idea. I haven't seen her since.
You tried?
Once. She moved. No forwarding address, that's all.
Makes a good story.
But you don't believe it. Now, let me tell you the reason we broke up. It's a dilly.
My hearing's good.
Well, you heard about the happy couple, but the guy keeps getting loaded, can't lay off. This is different. Big switch.
Carmen.
Yeah. Yeah, Carmen.
That's why she was seeing a doctor?
Carmen seeing a doc? Look, why don't you get out of here?
Why?
Because we don't like each other.
The sister thinks something might have happened to Carmen. She's scared.
Some of us are scared part of the time, and then somebody makes a lot of noise looking for somebody, then everybody gets scared. You scared, Regan?
Yeah.
Oh?
About what? Carmen Santino? I might be looking too late. Well, what he gave me filled in the cast, but the plot wasn't getting any clearer. So I looked up the doctor Carmen had mentioned in her letter. His name was Kingston, and the only address was a place out in Encino. It was a ranch house built all over the top of the hill like whipped cream. Figured he was getting over ceiling for his pills. I parked my car by the gate and followed the flagstones up to the front door. When I pressed a button, I heard something that sounded like chamber music. A blonde girl wearing a red dress that must have been riveted for her opened the door about the middle of the second chorus.
Well. Oh, I like Blue Surge. It has an effect on me.
It's the only thing in the closet.
You fill it out nice, but you don't look sick.
I want to see the doctor anyway.
Come in and we'll talk about it. My, you are tall, Mr.
Regan.
Regan.
Who are you? Florence Nightingale?
I hold the doctor's stethoscope. My name's Vivian Lytell.
Mind telling him I'm here?
Yes, he's busy.
So are you, lady.
He'll be busy quite a while. He just opened another bottle.
Oh, I'm right on time.
You're so eager.
Oh, wait.
Rex isn't sociable like me. He drinks alone. He gets more that way. Let me entertain you.
Easy, Angel. I don't know how to fix a fracture.
I've already got a man who can do that. I want one with brains.
What's the matter with the doc?
He keeps his in a bottle. Hasn't used him for a long time now.
He's done all right.
This? He'd be selling papers if his wife hadn't left him a good insurance policy.
What's the matter? Don't you like his money?
Oh, don't get me wrong. It's just that a girl has feelings, too.
Yeah. They show.
Oh, I'm glad I met you. We're going to have some nice afternoons.
Thought you worked for a living.
I got lots of free time. Besides, I should have at least one outside interest.
Keep looking. You'll find one.
You smile good, but you talk nasty.
I only came to see Kingston.
There's the phone. Call and make an appointment. Now, get out.
Vivian, about this... Oh, I didn't know you had company. I'll talk to you another time.
Just a minute, Doctor. This is Mr. Regan. He's your company, but he doesn't have a business card.
Look, Mr. Regan, I'm no longer in practice, just doing a search on my own. I have all the medical equipment I can use, and I turned all my patients over to another doctor.
I know one you forgot.
Oh? Well, tell me who.
Carmen Santino.
Go ahead, Vivian. I'll speak to Mr. Regan.
Watch yourself, Rex. He doesn't know how to be nice.
It'll only take a minute.
I'll crack some ice. You'll need a drink.
Very fine, nurse.
Yeah. It's a nice uniform.
Working on my own. We're very casual. You said I had a patient named Carmen what was it?
Carmen Santino.
I'm afraid you're mistaken, Mr. Regan. Who told you that?
I read about you in a letter.
Must have been another Kingston.
There's only one with a license.
Are you a relative of this girl?
Friend.
You're a detective, aren't you?
Yeah. Want to show me your files someday?
Why not today? This way. I keep them right here on my lap. Help yourself, Mr. Regan.
Thanks.
Want a drink?
Too early.
You don't mind if I have one?
Your house.
Find anything?
Not under Santino. Could have used another name.
That's possible. When was I supposed to have treated her?
Oh, about a year ago, according to this letter. Here. Here's a picture.
No. I've never treated anyone who looks like that.
Sure?
Positive. What was her illness?
Might have had something to do with that stuff you're drinking. They, die from it sometimes.
I see. You can't see it from this window, but just over the hill, my wife's buried. I had special permission from the county to bury her on my property. She was a great comfort to me when she was alive. I haven't been the same since she passed away, and... well, that's why I'm no longer in practice.
I didn't ask for that.
But you did, with your eyes. You're a strange man. Do you enjoy making a living this way, prying into other people's lives, searching for what's best left alone?
Is he still here, Rex?
Yes, Vivian, but he's just leaving. You can find your way.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Blue Surge. You were a real disappointment.
Don't give up. I'll be back.
Don't bother, Regan. The doctor will be out.
The whole thing looked phony. like a fan dancer in long underwear. But when I left the two of them, I was beginning to get an idea. Just beginning. I walked over the side of the hill to look at the grave. It was there, all right, like he said. Irene Kingston, 1922, 1948. Maybe that explained it. Maybe it didn't. I was remembering those New York labels I'd seen on Irene Santino's clothes when I left there and looked up a friend of mine in the CAA. He checked into it and told me nobody named Santino had come in from Rio on any flight last week. And the immigration people didn't have a passport or visa record on her either. I was home thinking about all this when my phone began ringing. It was Irene Santino. She did all the talking.
I tried to get you at your office, Mr. Regan, but no one answered. I had to speak to you.
What about?
I found Carmen.
Yeah?
Rather, Carmen found me. I feel sort of foolish now, calling you people in and all that. Well, she came right to my apartment. Can you imagine? She's been looking for me.
What about her address?
Oh, that was another silly thing. Only it was a mistake. She's not very good at details. Please thank Mr. Lyon for his kindness. And, Mr. Regan.
Yeah?
It's all confidential. I wouldn't want any of this to get to the wrong people.
You know some of the wrong kind?
Doesn't everyone? Well, goodbye.
Oh, Jeffrey, you run any expenses on the Santino thing?
No.
Good. It's all over.
Well, how do you know? She just...
It just came from missing persons. There's a cop there named Freddie. Got an eye like an eagle.
Talk sense.
I had that other picture of the Santino dame with me. He took one look at it and opened up a file.
What kind of file?
Dead and unclaimed.
What do you mean?
The county buried her. Carmen Santino's been dead a year.
This is CBS, and you are listening to They've Got More Than Coffee in Brazil, tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Well, there were enough angles to write a new geometry book. Irene Santino gave me a picture and a letter and started me digging for her sister, Carmen. I meet a guy with a piano and a doctor with a bottle. Everybody talks, but nobody says anything. And then Irene calls me off, says she found her sister. Only the Lion walks in with a different version. Missing persons say Carmen Santino's holding down a spot in the county cemetery. Well, I figured somebody was having nightmares. I didn't say anything to the Lion and went down to the Hall of Records. There was a little guy sitting at the desk in vital statistics. His fingernails were dirty and he was reading a dictionary. He must have been at a good part because he looked mad when I interrupted him.
We're not on a bus. Quit shoving.
I want some information.
I'm a public servant. That's what I'm here for. What kind of information?
Get to the death files, will you?
You're a morbid guy. We got a lot of stuff on births and marriages. Ask me something about that.
A girl named Carmen Santino died about a year ago. Tell me what from.
Okay. How do you spell it?
Just like it sounds.
Santino, huh? Sabatini, Sanaki, Sanford. That's what happened to old Sandy. No wonder I ain't seen him around.
Come on, get with it, will you?
Here it is. Santino. Date of death, 15 October 1948. Cause of death?
Alcoholic poisoning.
Yeah. How'd you get it?
Never mind. Who signed the certificate?
Rex J. Kingston, M.D.
Okay. Here's one more for you. Look up Irene Kingston.
The doc's wife?
Look it up.
Okay. Kingsley. Here. Kingston, Irene. 13 October 1948.
Cause of death?
You guessed it again. The same. Alcoholic poisoning. Hey, this guy couldn't keep a patient.
Well, that filled it in. I could see the plot, but I wasn't sure of the ending. So I didn't waste any time getting over to Irene Santino's place. But I wasn't fast enough. The door was halfway open when I got there. All the company had left, but Irene was still around. She was sitting there looking at the phone, like it was all she had to think about.
Mr. Regan.
What's so funny?
Everything, Mr. Regan. Oh, excuse me for not getting up. I didn't expect you. I told you I found my sister, didn't I?
Yeah, you told me, but you didn't tell me she was dead.
I didn't even tell you that I haven't got a sister. Did I? Did I?
Come on, lady, give it to me. What are you talking about?
Look, this little red spot on my arm. Doesn't look like much, does it? But just wait, Mr. Regan. You just wait. You just wait. Wait.
I found a doctor on the floor below. He grabbed his black bag and went to work on her. She quieted down to a slow inside giggle, then went out altogether. The doctor got hold of an ambulance and carted her off to a hospital. They just wheeled her out the door when the Lions showed up.
Jeffrey, did I see an ambulance out front?
That's right. Your client was in it.
What?
Yeah, somebody stuffed her full of something that made her giggle.
I don't understand all this at all. I stopped by home to change to my dark suit so I could come by and bring Miss Centino the news of her sister's death, and what do I walk in?
You can save your tears, Fatso. She didn't come from Brazil, and she wasn't rich.
That woman gave me $200 cash. There was nothing unreliable about her. We had a contract.
You can use it for confetti.
Now see here, Jeffrey.
Look, Lion, look at this picture.
Carmen Centino. I have one just like it.
All right, draw some glasses on it. Add about 6 or 7 years.
I don't understand you, Jeffrey. We're talking business, and all at once we're playing games.
When I came to see her tonight, she wasn't wearing her glasses. She looked a lot like the dame in this picture.
Of course she did, naturally. That's her own sister.
She never had a sister.
Never had a sister? Then who did the county bury?
That's what I'm going to find out from a guy named Rex Kingston.
I had a feeling you'd be back. I built a fire.
I forgot the marshmallows.
Come on in. I'm not mad anymore.
I'm still looking for your doctor.
Let me take care of you. I have a way with men.
Didn't we do all this once before?
Oh, it's night now. You can ask me some questions. I know some swell answers.
I'll bet.
How do you like your drink?
Your way?
That's better. Now, let's have a nice, quiet evening. Just you and me.
I want to see him.
There's been a famine of men like you.
You don't look underfed. I said I want to see him.
Oh, all right. We could have had such a nice evening. Rex?
What is it?
Mr. Regan's here again.
Yes. Hello, Regan. Didn't I tell you I'd be out?
Yeah, you told me that, but you didn't tell me what I wanted to know. I had to go to Vital Statistics to get that.
What?
You don't have anything in your files about Carmen Centino, but you signed her death certificate.
Now, you get this, Regan. You saw my files once, and I don't have to open them again to anyone who comes here without a warrant, and you haven't got one.
But I know where I can get one. When I go to the city attorney's office and tell them what I've got, they'll have somebody out here to exhume that grave on the hill.
What do you mean, Regan?
Irene Kingston died 2 days before Carmen Centino of the same thing. Dr. Kingston signed both certificates. He collects on his wife's insurance, only I don't think his wife really died. I think that extra grave up on the hill is window dressing.
And if my wife didn't die, Regan, where is she now?
I don't know. She could be at a downtown hospital, posing under the name of Irene Centino. There was a shot in the dark, but it brought results. Kingston swung a lamp base around that connected on the side of my head. When I came to, I was in a white room, back of the house. Tried to move my head, but it felt like a grand piano. Nothing else worked either, so I just lay there. Pretty soon somebody began putting something damp on my face, and I began to see better. Vivian was standing there with Kingston. He looked sick, like an ostrich with a sore throat. He had a needle in his hand.
I can't. You can do it all right, Rex. Go ahead.
That's the same treatment you tried to give Irene?
You should have stayed out, Regan.
I wanted one more look at you, baby.
I hate to see the nice ones go, but it'll be all over in a minute. All right, Rex.
Give me a drink, Vivian. Gotta have a drink.
It won't help. I found Irene in time. She's gonna live. She's gonna talk.
Go ahead, Rex. Give it to him. Then we'll clear out.
But Irene's still alive. I didn't kill her.
You'll do better this time.
I can't.
Go ahead.
No, I won't.
I said go ahead or I'll shoot you, Rex. I'll shoot you if you don't.
No, you don't. It's all over, Vivian. It's all over.
Vivian had the gun, but Kingston was too much for her. All of a sudden it began going off. Vivian started to look pale. And then she went down. Slow. And easy. She deserved it. That what you're going to tell the state?
Regan, is Irene really going to live?
That's what the doctor says.
Good, Regan. No, don't try to move. I gave you a shot of preparatory solution. You won't be able to move for another hour. I suppose I ought to run.
You won't get far.
I know. But listen to me. Irene, she's my wife. She's innocent of all this. When you tell the police the real story...
I haven't got it all.
You had enough?
It started with Carmen Santino.
She stumbled in one night. She was very ill. She dropped dead before I could do anything for her.
Alcohol?
Yes. But before she died, she kept talking about a man named Martin.
Lives over on Laurel.
Yes, I was going to get in touch with him. But I had a better idea. She looked a great deal like my wife, Irene. It was quite remarkable.
The insurance.
Yes. Irene didn't want to do it, but she loved me, so she finally disappeared. I used one body for 2 death certificates and buried an empty box up on the hill. I was supposed to join Irene later.
See. Vivian.
Yes. Vivian came along. I was drinking one night, and she found out the truth. I was trapped. It would have stayed that way if Irene hadn't hired you.
And I was supposed to scare you with that story about her sister, Brazil.
It worked, too.
That guy Martin said. Somebody gets scared. And then...
Regan, can you hear me?
Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. Stuff's making me sleepy.
It'll wear off. I'm going now, Regan. See that Irene gets a fair shake?
I'll try. He picked up a bottle and started out the door. He didn't even look down at Vivian's body on the floor. I tried to move. Like he said, nothing worked. It was 2 more hours before I could get to the phone and call homicide. It was 2 more days before I talked to the lion.
Sure. I'm sending it right over. Yes, of course. Of course. Jeffrey, my boy, how are you feeling? Better?
Well, the fog's gone out of my head, if that's what you mean. Otherwise, I feel lousy.
Oh, don't take it so hard, my boy. All in a day's work. Besides, there's the brighter side. Yes, indeed.
Like what?
Well, for one thing, they got that Dr. Kingston. He only got as far as Las Vegas. Crime doesn't pay, Jeffrey. Crime just does not pay.
Doesn't, huh? What's this?
Now, wait a minute. Give me that.
Application. Consolidated insurance.
It's nothing, I tell you.
You mean to tell me we're going to try to collect a reward?
We exposed an insurance fraud. Every insurance company pays a little something for that. We had expenses. You don't know how hard I worked on this, Jeffrey.
Here, take it back.
Well, what's the matter? You look like it's something illegal.
Crime does not pay.
Jeff Regan, Investigator, is directed and transcribed by Sterling Tracy and stars Frank Graham as Regan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. Tonight's script was by E. Jack Newman. Original music is by Dick Arant. Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to burglary detail. A gang of clever thieves are at work in your city. In 3 months, they've looted fashionable homes of $100,000 in furs and jewels. There's no clue to their identity. Your job? Get them. In Fatima, the difference is quality.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Quality of tobaccos. The finest domestic and Turkish varieties, extra mild. Superbly blended to give you Fatima's much different, Much better flavor and aroma.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, round, perfect Fatima cigarettes. Rolled in the finest paper money can buy. Manufactured in the newest and most modern of all cigarette factories.
Quality. Even to the appearance of the bright, clean, golden yellow Fatima package.
So compare Fatima yourself today.
You'll find Fatima gives you all the advantages of extra length, plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has.
Yes, light up a Fatima. Your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Because in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, January 10th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Wisdom. My name's Freddie. It was 11:15 a.m. when we got back to the city hall. Captain Wisdom's office.
Hi, Skipper.
Hi. How'd you make out?
Not too good. Same old story.
Anybody in the house when the thieves broke in?
Yeah, the children's nurse was there. She said the burglary took place about midnight. She was asleep in bed at the time.
Uh-huh.
The nurse said she woke up when she heard the thieves forcing their way in through a side door. She jumped out of bed, ran for the telephone in the hallway, and they grabbed her before she could reach it.
Do her any harm?
Well, a little, yeah. They tied her up, locked her in a closet.
Same MO as the other job, Skipper. 3 men, each of them wore gloves and a mask. They took all the furs and jewelry they could find, nothing else.
Nurse give you the same general description on the 3 of them?
Yeah, it's not going to help much. Said 2 of the men were tall, medium build, and one was short, heavy build. She was so rattled she couldn't even remember the clothes they had on.
12 jobs for the same gang in 3 months. We don't even have a good description of them. How slow can we move?
Doing everything we can, Skipper.
Excuse me. Burglary, Wisdom? Uh-huh. Not until 2 o'clock? No, that's all right. 2 o'clock sharp. Right. Bye. Just had an appointment canceled out. How about a cup of coffee downstairs?
Yeah.
I didn't even have a chance for breakfast this morning.
Fine with me.
You grab my hat, will you?
Yeah, I'll get it. Here you go.
Thanks.
Guess you talked to the owners of the house, huh? The place was broken into last night?
Yeah, we did. Mr. and Miss Peterson. They got home a couple hours after the burglary, took a quick inventory.
What did they find missing?
Furs and jewels, same as the other jobs, almost $12,000 worth. That's the biggest haul yet.
I don't have to spell it out for you. We need a break on this thing. We need it back.
More pressure from the front office, huh?
It's coming from all sides. The victims are insurance companies and newspapers. They got a right to cry. Those thieves have been grabbing furs and jewels for 3 months.
We're doing everything about it we can do, Skipper. Planning stakeout, working our informants, running down every lead we can get our hands on. Covered every angle I can think of.
They don't worry about the angles we cover. They want results. They want their property back.
Well, go ahead, Skipper. Go ahead.
Yeah. Now, how about the stuff they took on the job last night? You get it on the stolen property list?
Yeah, it's all listed. That's one thing that really gets me. What are the thieves doing with all that stuff, the furs and the jewelry? We've had every pawn shop in the city on the alert since they started working. Checked on every possible outlet we know of, any place they could use to dump the stuff. They haven't turned up a trace of it.
No results from those APBs you got out?
Well, yeah, a few, but none of them are panned out.
How about trying the cafeteria here? They got pretty good coffee.
Yeah, good idea.
Why don't you 2 grab a table? I'll get the coffee.
Right, Ben. Oh, hold the cream on mine, will you?
Right, Skipper.
How's this? Is all right?
Yeah, it's fine. 3 chairs?
Yeah.
Okay. How about it Friday? You or Ben got any ideas at all?
Well, there's one thing we wanted to talk over with you. We were kicking the idea around on the way back into the office. Mm-hmm. Would you like a smoke?
Oh, thanks.
There you go. Last night we were comparing the different stories we got from the burglary victims.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
You get a light all right?
Yeah, it's all right, thanks. Go ahead.
Well, that's one thing that all their stories seem to have in common. Now, that's counting all 12 victims.
Yeah, what's that?
Well, let's see. I got a piece of paper here. I got it all figured out. Yeah. We know all the victims are fairly wealthy people. They go out quite a bit, parties, nightclubs, things like that.
Yeah. None of them were at home at the time the burglaries were pulled.
That's right, yeah.
Here you go. There's your Skipper. No cream.
Thanks.
Joe.
Thank you very much. I was just telling the captain about that idea we were talking about on the way back in.
Yeah, okay. All right, so none of the victims were home at the time of the burglary. Where does it go from there?
Well, for one thing, we all pretty much agree that there must be a finger man working with the gang, don't we? Somebody who knows the victims aren't home. Somebody who also knows the victims aren't wearing the furs or jewels on that particular night, is that right?
That's right. We've been going on that assumption. Now, the question is, who's the finger man?
Well, that's what I'm trying to get at here. Ben and I compared the victims' stories. We found out that in every case, each of the victims had been out in some public place from 3 to 5 days before the night of the burglary. Now, at that time, every one of them wore furs and expensive jewelry.
Yeah.
Why don't you read off some of those examples we got there, Joe?
Okay. Well, here's the first one. Mr. and Mrs. Charles King. Now, on December 10th, they went to a nightclub out in Hollywood. Mrs. King wore a fur coat and quite a bit of jewelry. On December 14th, they went out to a theater. They didn't dress up at all. They left the furs and jewels at home. That's the night that their house was burglarized.
And this same pattern shows up in every one of the victims' stories?
No, it's not quite that close, but the same elements seem to be there.
Here's another one, Skipper. Let's see. Mr. and Mrs. Lyons, November 20th, they went to a big party at a restaurant out on Sunset. Woman wore jewelry, expensive fur wrap. A week later, they went to a party at a friend's house. Mrs. Lyons left her furs and jewelry at home, and the same night, the thieves broke in.
Yeah, that's a pretty good angle. How do you tie up all the loose ends?
Well, let's see a paper again, Ben. We've got a halfway figured right here. Just before each of the victims was taken, they appeared in a public place, wearing the furs and jewelry. We've got a list of all the places, nightclubs, restaurants. There's about 6 of them here.
So the finger man for the gang must be watching these 6 places.
He spots the people with expensive furs and jewelry and tips off the gang. They watch the house. Next time the people go out and the thieves see the woman isn't wearing her furs and things, and they move in.
It's not a sure thing. We're just guessing, you understand? What do you think?
Well, it sounds like a fair guess. Let's move on it.
We'll have to cover each of those nightclubs and the restaurants. It's going to take more men, more time. Could be nothing but a blind alley.
We got the men, we got the time. Let's try it.
10 p.m., Wednesday, January 10th. Our idea for stopping the burglary gang by reaching their spotter or finger man was put into operation. The half-dozen nightclubs and restaurants where we thought the spotter might be checking off richly dressed couples as future burglary victims were placed under strict surveillance. Managers and employees of each of the places were questioned. It went slow. The first week got us 4 leads to check out. They led nowhere. Any and all suspicious-looking persons loitering in or near the clubs and restaurants that we had staked out were questioned and checked out thoroughly. Another week passed, no results. In the meantime, on January 23rd, the burglary gang hit again, this time at a dentist's home in the Hollywood Hills. The maid, a Miss Ilsa Bergstrom, was the only one present at the time of the burglary. Ben and I drove out to interview her.
It was soon before midnight. The Mr. and Mrs. was gone out. They were sitting with the television.
The 3 men broke in the side door. Is that right, Miss Bergstrom?
Yeah, the side door, I think so. They were sitting with the television watching. I hear this sound. I turn around, and the 3 men, they're right there in the room with me. I thought I could scream, but I couldn't.
Well, do you remember what the men looked like, Miss Bergstrom? How they were dressed?
I don't know. I was so much being frightened. One of them had a jacket on, I think. A dark jacket. The others, I don't know.
Anything else about them that you noticed?
Yeah, they had masks all over their faces. I couldn't see. I jumped up. I tried to scream, but I was so much frightened.
What'd they do then, Miss?
Yeah, they put a cloth all around my mouth so I couldn't make noise. Then they tied my hands and my feet, and they put me in the closet out there, just by the hallway. I was kicking and hitting at them.
Mm-hmm. Had you ever seen any of the men before, Miss Bergstrom?
No, never before.
Do you think you'd know any of the men if you saw them again?
I shouldn't be sure. One of them, maybe I might know him.
Well, how do you mean? Did you get a look at his face?
Yeah, only it was very quick. Then they was putting me in the closet. I was hitting and kicking at them. Mm-hmm. One of the men, I knocked his hat off. It fell on the floor. I pulled at the thing on his face, the mask. Almost it came off.
Well, from what you could see, what did the man look like?
Blonde hair, I can't remember. It's not so much on top here. It's only on the sides here.
Mm-hmm.
And there was right there by the forehead, here, a scar going over that way.
Yeah. Was he a big man, do you know, as big as the other two?
No, he was a smaller man. He was bigger this way, fatter, yeah. He was so mad when I knocked his hat off, I thought maybe he'd kill me. They only put me in the closet, and then they closed the door. I could hear them upstairs going through the Mr. and Mrs. room.
And you're pretty sure of the description you've given us, Miss Bergstrom?
Oh, yeah, the scar, the blonde hair. Not so much on top. I remember that. It Well, I was so much frightened I thought he'd kill me.
Mm-hmm. Now, after they locked you in the closet, they didn't come back? That's the last you saw of them?
Yeah, they didn't come back to me. I could hear them moving around upstairs, and then I could hear them leave after a while. It was like all night before the Mr. and Mrs. came home and found me. I was so much frightened. This thing wouldn't happen in Sweden. That's where I come from, Sweden.
Yes, ma'am. You sure there's nothing else about these men that you've noticed? Something we ought to know about?
No, everything I saw just what happened. I told you the way it was. This never would have happened in Sweden. Not like this. These robbers like this.
Burglars, ma'am.
Yeah, these burglars. I thought I'd be dead. Never would happen in Sweden like this.
You mean you don't have burglars in Sweden?
Oh, yeah. We have burglars.
Well, then just how do you mean that?
We have burglars, but they don't break in the house when somebody's there. They're a little bit gentlemen.
Is that so?
Yeah, they wait till everybody's gone from the house. Then they break it. Even burglars should be gentlemen a little bit.
Before we left the house, we checked with the owners, took their crime report and a list of their stolen property, some $6,000 in jewelry and fur coats. The maid's description of one of the three men in the gang wasn't complete, but it was the best that we'd had on him in 3 months. Frank Cunningham in the Eye Bureau had the description of the scar on the suspect's forehead checked through the oddity file. Meantime, Ben and I paired up the additional facts about the suspect. The scar, the color and condition of his hair, along with his general description, his approximate weight and height. We had the stats office make a run for us on all ex-cons with burglary records who fitted the overall description. They came up with a list of 10 names, and we started checking them out. One of the first listed was a Russell Snow. We checked his last known address, but he'd moved. His mail was being forwarded in care of his brother, George Snow, who managed the Neptune Plunge, a public indoor swimming pool in the East Hollywood neighborhood. We drove out to interview the brother.
Pretty good size for an indoor pool, huh?
Yeah, it is. It's a nice layout they got.
Must be the office straight ahead there. Hey, Joe. Joe, look.
What's that?
That girl over there. Look at that bathing suit she's got on.
Yeah, they keep getting smaller, don't they?
Makes you embarrassed just to look at her. Yeah, maybe I'm just getting old.
Yeah.
Yes, sir? We're looking for George Snow.
Yeah, I'm him.
Police officers, Mr. Snow. I'd like to talk to you a few minutes if we could.
Oh, yeah. Let me grab a towel over and get dried off, though.
Sure.
Go on over. Pull up one of these deck chairs here.
All right,
Thank you very much.
Well, what is it, officers? What can I do for you?
You have a brother, isn't that right, sir? A Russell Snow?
Yeah, that's right. Russ is my brother. Anything wrong?
Well, we'd like to locate him if we could. Do you know where we can find him?
No, don't think I can. Last I heard from Russ was about 6 months ago. Said he was going to take a job in Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
Not in trouble again, is he?
Not that we know of. We'd like to locate him, that's all.
I don't think I can help you much. Russ isn't much of a letter writer. Only time I hear from him is when he's in town.
We've checked at the last place your brother was staying. They told us he left word to forward all his mail here to you. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Russ asked me to take care of it. No letters have come through so far, though.
Mm-hmm. Were you to hang on to his mail or send it on to him in Minneapolis?
No, I was going to hang on to him. Russ said he'd pick up his mail next time he was through. As I say, that was 6 months ago. I haven't seen or heard from him since.
Then you wouldn't know if he was actually in Minneapolis or not.
Well, no, I wouldn't. Guess you know my brother Russell had a police record.
Yes, sir, we do.
He had that trouble a couple of years ago, that burglary rap. I think Russ learned his lesson.
Are you your brother's only living relative? I mean, is there anyone else in town who might have heard from him?
I don't know, officer. Excuse me just a minute. All right, kids, no running around the side of the pool, you hear? You slip and break your neck. No more running. Sorry, I gotta watch my talk.
Yes, sir.
Like I was saying, I can't think of anybody who might have heard from Russ. I'm his only relation, but he does have a few friends around town. I mean, legitimate fellas, you know.
Yeah, huh?
They come around once in a while, drop in and say hello.
Have any of them heard from your brother?
They might have, but I didn't ask him. There's old Matt Garson, he's a good friend of my brother's. He was in the other day, but he didn't say anything about hearing from Russ. Might be that he has. Maybe he didn't think to mention it.
Where does this Matt Garson stay, do you know?
I really couldn't tell you, officer. That's a real character, kind of a floater. Doesn't stay with one job more than 2 months. Like last week when he was in here.
Yes, sir?
He's a real pitchman. Gave me a big sales talk. Biggest bargain on earth. Said he'd sell me a couple of them real cheap. I didn't have any use for them.
What's that, sir?
Fur coats.
Before we left, George Snow gave us a complete description of Matt Garson, together with the names of 5 of Garson's acquaintances who might know of his whereabouts. When Ben and I got back to the city hall, we checked Garson's name and description through R&I. He had a record of 2 fairly recent arrests, but no convictions. Both arrests were for suspicion of burglary. We checked on Garson's last known residence. He'd moved, no forwarding address. His last place of employment was listed as the Park Tivoli nightclub out on Wilshire Boulevard. The Park Tivoli was one of the 6 places that we'd staked out as a possible working ground for the burglary gang's fingerman, a place where he could spot expensively dressed persons, check on their home addresses, and line them up as future burglary victims. Ben put in a call to the manager of the Park Tivoli to check on Garson's employment.
What was that, sir? Last July. I see. Well, yes, it will probably be out tonight. Right, thanks. Bye.
What'd you get?
Garson worked out there, all right. Parking lot attendant. He quit last July. If he's the guy checking off the customers' furs and jewels, he's in a perfect spot.
Yeah.
Manager told me that Garson has a girlfriend. She still works at the club. Might be the answer, Joe.
Well, how do you figure?
She runs a hat check stand.
You are in the Communications Division of a Metropolitan Police Department, the teletype room.
.43, LOS 52951, 12:03 p.m. APB, WMA 150, 5'6", dark hair, dark eyes, wearing gray suit, no hat. Suspect is wearing glasses, heavy build, 22 years. Suspect is armed with blue steel revolver. Any information? Forward.
You have just heard a teletype description of a suspect. This information will apply to many, but careful screening will eliminate all but one.
You'll find the same is true when you examine king-size cigarettes. Yes, careful screening will eliminate all but Fatima.
Compare Fatima. Fatimas are the same length as any other king-size cigarettes, 85 millimeters. Fatima has the same circumference, 1 1/64 inches around.
And Fatima filters the smoke exactly the same long distance as other king-size cigarettes.
But in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Fatima gives you extra mildness, a much different, much better flavor and aroma. You get all the advantages of extra length, plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has.
So compare Fatima yourself. Your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Buy Fatima. Best of all long cigarettes.
One of the biggest problems that faces a police officer working the burglary detail is not only apprehending the thief, but also recovering the stolen property. Dozens of criminals of this type will spend 5, 10, or even 15 years in prison if they know that on their release they will have a stake of thousands of dollars in stolen property which they've hidden somewhere to start over again with. Thursday, January 26th, 5 p.m. We got out a broadcast and an APB on the burglary suspect, Matt Garson. Then we began checking back on his girlfriend, Virginia Ramsey, who worked as a hat check girl at the Park Tivoli nightclub on Wilshire Boulevard. It was one of the 6 probable places where we thought that the fingerman for the burglary gang was lining up potential victims. Despite the fact that she often associated with known criminal suspects, the Ramsey girl had no previous criminal record herself. That night, after she reported in for work at the club, Ben and I checked her apartment. In one of the closets, we found 3 expensive fur coats. They were all identified as property taken in previous burglaries by the gang. In a strong box in the desk, we found a half a dozen pieces of expensive jewelry, also identified on the stolen property list. Ben and I got in the car and drove to the Park Tivoli nightclub.
Your hat, sir? Check your hat?
Your name Virginia Ramsey?
Yes, that's right.
Police officers, Miss Ramsey. Like to talk to you downtown.
Beg your pardon?
I say we're police officers. Here's our identification. Like to talk to you downtown.
What's it all about? I haven't done anything.
Then there's no reason to worry. We'd just like to ask you a few questions, that's all.
What about?
A man by the name of Matt Garson. I understand you know him quite well.
No, I don't know him. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Want to get your coat, Miss Ramsey? We'll talk it over downtown, huh?
I'm working now. Listen, I won't be off till 2 o'clock. I can't just walk off the job.
We'll just talk to the manager. He's going to have one of the other girls take your place. Do you want to get your coat, please?
All right.
You sure you checked with the manager? I don't want to lose my job leaving like
We
that.
talked to him. It's all right.
This way, please, out the side door.
I'd like to know what this whole thing's all about. I think I have a right to know pulling me off a job like this.
We told you, Miss Ramsey, it's about a friend of yours, Matt Garson. He used to work here at the club, didn't he?
I wouldn't know. A lot of people work here. I don't know them all. Why should you want him anyway?
Do you know him?
I think I might, yes. Not sure. Why do you want him?
For interrogation, just like to ask him a few questions.
Why?
You ready to admit that you know Garson?
I think I might. Yeah, I know him.
Want to get in, Miss Ramsey?
Still don't know what it's all about. Why do you want Matt Garson?
Same reason we want you, suspicion of burglary.
You don't know what you're talking about. You can't prove anything against me.
We already have, miss.
Huh?
We found 3 fur coats in your apartment. There was some jewelry there, too.
Those things are mine, every one of them. They're all mine.
All right, come on, you're wasting time. They're stolen property, you know that.
How about it, miss? You want to tell us about Matt Garson? Where is he?
Told you. Told you the first time.
Yeah?
I don't know him.
10 p.m. We drove the suspect, Virginia Ramsey, downtown to the city hall and took her to the interrogation room. We questioned her continuously until well past midnight. She refused to admit anything. We gave her time to rest a little and sent out for some food. Then we resumed the interrogations. 2 a.m. The Ramsey girl still refused to admit any connection with Matt Garson, his friend Russell Snow, or any members of the burglary gang. We stayed with it. By 4 a.m., we'd halfway convinced her that protecting the members of the gang wasn't the answer, that the best thing for her to do would be to cooperate. 5:30 a.m.
Can I have a cigarette?
Yeah. Here you are.
I'll tell you about it. I know Matt Garson. He's one of the gang.
You know where he is?
No. He got me into it. He made me do it. There wasn't anything else I can do.
What did he make you do?
Well, when I was checking coats and things at the club, I was supposed to watch for customers with money, expensive furs and jewels. I found out who they were, and then I'd tell Matt. He'd tell the others.
Who are the others?
One of them's Johnny Lang. There are a couple of others, but I don't know their names. Believe me, Sergeant, Matt made me do it. He got me into it before I knew what it was all about. When I found out, he threatened to frame me if I didn't go along with him.
Do you know where any of these men live, where they hang out?
No. None of them, not even Matt. Ever since he moved, he wouldn't give me his new address.
Do you think Garson will try to contact you at your apartment in the next few days, maybe?
No, I don't think so. Not until after the next job. They're waiting on it now. They've been watching the house.
Which house is that?
Place out in West Hollywood. Wealthy people. They were in the club about a week ago.
And the gang's waiting for them to go out some night and leave their valuables at home, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Matt says it's an easy house to break into. He thinks it ought to be a cinch.
Matt ought to know better.
Huh?
It's the easy ones you trip over. Before we booked her in on suspicion of burglary, Virginia Ramsey gave us the name and address of the people in West Hollywood who were supposedly the next victims on the burglary gang's list. Later in the morning, we drove out to see the people. A Mr. and Mrs. Thomas Thornton told them the story and laid out our plans, which they agreed to. That night, the Thornsons left their home a few minutes before 9. They were simply dressed, no furs, no jewels. At 9:35, 3 men scaled a fence at the rear of the Thornsons' home and broke in through a side door. Right behind them was a detail of a half a dozen officers who moved in and made the arrest. The 3 suspects were taken downtown, where they were identified as Russell Snow, Matt Garson, and Howard Ferris. We searched their apartments, their cars, and garages. There was no trace of the stolen property. Each of the men were brought to the interrogation room separately for questioning. Matt Garson was the first. He denied any knowledge of where the loot was hidden.
That's the truth. I don't know where the stuff is. I work for the outfit, that's all.
You've been working for 3 months without a payoff. Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Well, we haven't been turning over everything we got. Been holding out half the stuff. Selling it on the side. I just work for the outfit, that's all.
That's not the way we get it, Garson. You're supposed to be the big man. You masterminded the deal.
Me? Who told you that?
Your girlfriend, Virginia Ramsey. We picked her up yesterday. She told us everything.
What'd she tell you?
You're the big man. It was your idea. You ran the works.
What about it, Garson?
Big joke, Sergeant. On both of us.
What do you mean?
You can ask the other boys. They'll tell you the same thing. We can prove it, too. There's only one boss in this operation.
Yeah?
Virginia Ramsey.
For a 23-year-old girl, it seemed like a new record of some kind, if it was true. We checked the other suspects, Russell Snow and Howard Ferris. They told us substantially the same story. The Ramsey girl had formulated all the plans and directed the entire operation of the gang since its inception. They insisted that they had no idea where the stolen property was hidden, but they did know that the Ramsey girl had a safety deposit box in a downtown bank. We made a canvass of banks in the downtown area, and a day later we located the safety deposit box listed in Miss Ramsey's name. We obtained a court order, and the box was open. In it, we found practically all of the stolen jewelry, almost $50,000 worth. Ben and I went back to the main jail where we had Virginia Ramsey signed out for investigation. We brought her to the interrogation room where we confronted her with the evidence.
I didn't think you'd find out. I didn't think you'd ever find out.
How about the furs, Miss Ramsey?
I got the key. You can have it. I rented a private garage. I got them stored in there.
All of them?
Just about, yeah. You picked up the others in my apartment.
How'd you manage to run this whole operation? Those men you had working for you, you cut them in for practically nothing. They were experts, the best in the business.
That's why I hired them. They're the best. It's too bad. Should have worked out. Too bad it didn't go.
You had a pretty fair run.
Wasn't half bad for me, was it? Only 23. First time I ever tried anything like it.
What gave you the idea?
I don't know. I wanted things. Pretty smart setup, though, don't you think, Sarge?
How's that?
Wouldn't you say I played the whole thing pretty smart?
Oh, I don't know. You figure it.
What?
You're in jail, aren't you?
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent. On March 28th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 89, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial. Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, if you smoke a long cigarette, I want you to get acquainted with Fatima's. This weekend, for instance, when you're relaxing and taking it easy, you'll really appreciate Fatima's better flavor and aroma. And I know you'll like Fatima's extra mildness. Make a note tomorrow. Buy Fatima's in the familiar yellow carton.
23-year-old Virginia Ramsey, the leader of the gang, was tried and convicted on 4 counts of first-degree burglary and 4 counts of receiving stolen property. The 3 male members of the gang were convicted of first-degree burglary, also 4 counts. They are now serving their terms in the state penitentiary. First-degree burglary is punishable by imprisonment for not less than 5 years. Receiving stolen property is punishable by imprisonment for not less than 6 months, nor more than 5 years. Ladies and gentlemen, vacation time is here again, and a great many of you will be taking trips in your automobile. Danger is never absent from the highways of America. Be careful. The care you take may save a life, and that life may be your own.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Stay tuned for Counter Spy, next over most NBC stations.
Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to Juvenile Bureau. Dozens of petty theft cases are reported in one of the residential areas in your city. The victims, neighborhood businessmen. The suspects, teenage high school students. Your job? stop them.
More and more smokers coast to coast are saying this about king-size Fatima every day. They're different. Better.
They are different. So pleasing.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. You see, Fatima contains the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
You'll find Fatima gives you all the advantages of extra length, plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Next time, buy Fatima. Best of all long cigarettes.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, February 4th. It was cloudy in Los Angeles. We were working a night watch out of Juvenile Bureau, assigned to University Division. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Inspector Bowling. My name's Freddie. We were on the way out from the office, and it was 7:13 p.m. when we got to the corner of South Waverly and Chester Avenue. The grocery store.
Guess that's him back there at the meat counter.
Yeah. Come on.
Looks like he's getting ready to close up.
Yeah, I guess we just about made it in time, huh? Excuse me, sir?
Yes, sir. Help you, gentlemen?
We're looking for Henry Loomis.
Yes, sir. That's my name.
Police officers, Mr. Loomis. My name's Friday. I believe I talked to you on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
This is my partner, Sergeant Romero.
Hi, Mr. Loomis. Wonder if you'd mind waiting a half a minute, officers. Just getting a little bookwork straightened out here. Today's receipts.
Yeah, I'll go right in.
Won't take but a minute. Let's see here. 37, 45, 37. There we go. Ain't that lousy bookwork going to get a girl to come in and do it one of these days? Let's go up front here and talk.
All right, sir, fine.
Pull up a couple of stools there. Might as well be comfortable.
Yes, thank you.
You talked to any of the other merchants in the neighborhood yet?
No, sir, not yet. We'd like to find out what you have to tell us first.
Well, it's one of those high school kids, I can tell you that. I'm sure of it. I don't want to sound like an old grouch, but this stealing's got to stop.
You get quite a bit of business from the high school trade, do you?
At the noon hour, and then just after school lets out. Usually have quite a bunch of them in here around those times.
Mm-hmm. Do you especially cater to the high school crowd? I mean, do you serve lunch here or anything like that?
No, I don't. I usually get the kids to take their lunch. They come in and buy soda water or milk to drink with their sandwiches. They seem like such a nice class of kids. I didn't think they were thieves.
Well, how long has this stealing been going on, Mr. Loomis?
I'd say about 10 days, 2 weeks. It's not very hard for them to get away with it. 15 or 20 kids crowd in here during noon hour. I'm usually busy up at the counter. It's no great trick for any one of them to make off with a couple of dollars worth of merchandise.
You say this happens just about every day?
Every day the kids are in here, yeah. I tried playing detective myself for a while, trying to catch the guilty ones. Didn't do much good.
Mm-hmm. As long as this stealing's been going on, Mr. Loomis, has it ever amounted to more than just a few dollars worth of food every day?
You know, that's the funny part of it, Sergeant. When I check back on my inventories, it's always just about the same amount. A few cans of meat, vegetables, butter, a few loaves of bread. It's not so much the value of the stuff. I just don't like the idea of some kid making a fool out of me day after day.
Has your cash register ever been tampered with, you know? I mean, any money stolen?
No, sir, that's another thing I can't understand. If a kid's going to turn thief, you'd think he'd go after the cash. Whoever's doing it, they've never tried anything like that here.
Well, how about some of the other merchants in the neighborhood, sir? You mentioned on the phone there were a couple of others having the same trouble that you are.
Yes, sir, there's George Bopey. He's the newspaper distributor, and there's Collins. He's got the grocery place up the street. You can talk to them. I gave you their addresses on the phone, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Just one more thing, Mr. Loomis, about this crowd of high school boys that hang around here. Any of them in particular you might suspect?
As a matter of fact, there is. I certainly can't prove anything, but I just have a feeling about it. I don't like the boy.
Just one boy, sir?
Yes, sir. There may be more than one that's guilty, but this young fellow I'm pretty sure of.
What's his name?
I hear the kids call him Harry, red-haired boy, curly red hair, tall, a few freckles. Won't be hard to get his last name if we need it.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you can think of that we ought to know?
You go up the street and talk to the other two men, Sergeant, George Brophy and Collins. They might have something more for you. I think I've told you about everything.
All right, Mr. Loomis.
I've got your home phone here. If we want to contact you later tonight, I'll call you there. Is that all right?
Perfectly all right. Here's our card, sir. You can call us at that number there anytime.
All right, thank you. What do you think's behind the whole thing, Sergeant? This cheap stealing, nickel and dime stuff.
I don't know, sir. We'll try and find out for you.
Just doesn't make sense stealing like that day after day. You'd think even the kids know that you can't go on stealing forever.
Yes, sir. A lot of them give it a try. From the very start, the whole pattern of the case and the thief's method of operation made little or no sense at all. The thefts had been going on for more than 2 weeks, and they'd all taken place in a 12-square block area. In each of the 24 cases reported to us, not one of the thefts had been for more than $5, either in cash or merchandise. The thief's scene of operation included 2 grocery stores, a drugstore, coin boxes attached to the newsstands in the neighborhood, and a 5 and 10 cent variety store. With one exception, all of the cases involved theft of merchandise only. The breaking open of coin boxes attached to newsstands was the single instance in which money was taken. The total sum was less than $3.50. 7:40 p.m. Ben and I left the grocery store and went up the street to the home of George Brophy. He was the neighborhood newspaper distributor who operated the coin box newsstands which had been broken into.
Well, I think you can just about count on it, Sergeant. It's one of the kids in the neighborhood doing all this. Either that or a couple of them are working together.
What makes you so sure about it, Mr. Brophy?
Well, for one thing, we got more than our share of kids out this way. A lot of them are from poor families, underprivileged, you might say.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they figure it's one way of picking up extra spending money. I got nothing against kids myself. A few nickels they get out of those boxes, I wouldn't prosecute them for that.
Well, sir, that's not exactly it. The point is they're stealing. If they get away with this small-time stuff, they might figure they're ripe for something bigger. Probably be the best thing in the world for them if we can stop them now and set them on the right track, don't you think?
Yeah. Put in with you there, Sergeant. Don't know how much I can help you, though.
Do you have any idea at all who it might be that's breaking into the coin boxes?
Well, like I say, I have nothing against any kid myself, but there is one of them around the neighborhood I've been a little suspicious about, a red-headed kid.
What's he look like, you know?
Red hair, freckle face, kind of tall and gangly, typical high school kid. Old Loomis down at the grocery store, he's been a little leery about the same kid, too.
Well, why do you single out this red-haired boy, Mr. Brophy?
Well, he... Oh, excuse me, I better grab
right
it.
ahead.
Yes. Hello. Oh, yeah, Maggie, hi. 4 of them. When are they born? Is that right? All right. Born this morning. 4 of them, huh? Yeah, just a minute, I'll call. Grace.
Yeah, honey.
It's for you, Maggie Harris.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Excuse me, officer. A friend of my wife's, her cat just had 4 kittens.
Oh, I see.
Oh, where were we? Oh, yeah, about the kid.
Yes, sir. Why do you suspect
Well, there's a couple reasons, Sergeant. Late one night when I was making my collections, I spotted the boy hanging around one of the newsstands. Didn't look like he had any business there that time of night. He looked up and saw me coming. He turned and ducked down a side street.
Well, do you have any idea where this boy lives, Mr. Brophy?
No, can't say I do. He goes to that high school a few blocks up on South Waverly. I know that. It's the same boy that the grocerman had his eye on.
You said there were a couple of reasons why you were suspicious of this boy, Mr. Brophy.
Yeah. Well, this other thing doesn't mean too much. There wasn't anything really wrong with it. It just seemed a little queer, that's all.
What was that?
Well, I dropped in at the safety liquor store down the street last week. I wanted to pick up a little something. I saw the same kid in there. He was asking Benny, the guy who runs the place, if he'd sell him a fifth of bourbon. I heard the kid saying it was supposed to be for his father. His father was sick and couldn't come in. Of course, Benny turned him down. He wouldn't sell it to the kid.
And that was the extent of it, huh?
Yeah, that's all. Wasn't anything wrong with it. Kid didn't insist. I thought it was just a little out of line sending a kid after liquor. Well, that's about the size of it.
How about some of the other merchants in the neighborhood who have been bothered with these petty thefts? Do you know if any of them are suspicious of this boy?
No, I wouldn't know that. Henry Loomis down at the store is about the only one I know.
Well, thanks very much, Mr. Brophy. If anything else comes up, you can get us at the number on this card here.
Oh, okay, son. Fine. If I can help at all to clear this thing up, I'd be glad to do it.
Well, we'll probably be checking back with you, and thanks again, sir.
Sure is funny, the whole thing. I get a big laugh out of it.
Sir?
Oh, I mean the friend of my wife's called up, Maggie Harris. Cat had 4 kittens, like I told you.
Uh-huh.
Sure get a big laugh out of that. I kept telling her. She wouldn't believe me.
What's that, sir?
Well, she thought the cat was a male.
The next morning, Ben and I continued checking with various merchants and residents in the neighborhood where the series of petty thefts were taking place. We located and questioned one more shopkeeper who was suspicious of the tall, red-haired boy known as Harry. That afternoon, we went to the high school on South Waverly Avenue to check on him. From his first name and his description, he was identified by the boy's vice principal as Harry Thomas Dunbar. He was 18 years old and a sophomore with an average scholastic record. We were told that Dunbar had left the grounds about half an hour before with the high school's basketball team. The group was headed for one of the local sports pavilions where the team had one of its more important games scheduled for that afternoon. Harry Dunbar was in charge of selling the printed programs for the game. Ben and I drove out to the sports pavilion and checked with one of the boys collecting tickets at the door. He told us we'd find Harry Dunbar inside at the program stand.
These high school kids sure take their basketball seriously, don't they?
Yeah, big turnout, sounds like. We're going to be lucky if we can find that boy in this crowd.
Yeah.
You see him anywhere?
No. Which side is the program stand supposed to be on?
Well, there's a lot of them along and through here on both sides. Guess we better start checking them out.
Yeah. Joe.
Yeah.
That stand back there on the left, you see? Red-headed kid?
Yeah, let's check him.
Okay.
Programs, dime. Complete programs for the game, 10 cents.
Excuse me, son.
Program, mister?
Your name Harry Dunbar?
Yeah, that's right.
We're police officers, Harry. We'd like to talk to you for a few minutes, if it's all right.
Oh. Well, I can't talk to you now. I'm pretty busy selling these programs here.
Then suppose we wait a few minutes, son. See, you only have a few left there to sell.
No, it wouldn't do any good waiting. When I sell these, I got something else to do.
It's only going to take a few minutes of your time, Harry. We won't keep you long.
What is it, officer? What do you want to talk to me about?
Just have a few questions for you, son, that's all. Can you step out in the lobby with us for just a minute?
What's it all about? I'd like to know.
We'd just as soon not talk about it out here.
Oh, all right. We can go up this ramp here.
All right.
There's a hallway back here. Ones underneath the stands won't be so noisy.
Fine, we won't keep you long. Just a few routine questions.
This ought to do okay. What is it you want to know about?
Do you know a Mr. Loomis? Harry runs a grocery store near the high school.
Yeah, old man Loomis. I go down to his store and eat lunch sometimes. Why?
How about a Mr. Collins? He runs another store near the high school.
Yeah, I know the place. Sometimes I go there, too. A bunch of the kids hang around there during lunchtime.
We've had quite a few complaints from Collins and Loomis, some of the other stores in the neighborhood, too. We're checking on some of them. Thought maybe you could help us out, Harry.
No, I couldn't help you any. Mr. Collins and that old man Loomis, they don't like us. They want to get us in trouble. I think they're lying.
Lying about what?
About us kids stealing things out of their stores. I bet they even told you I'm stealing things from them.
Are you, Harry?
Of course not. They can't say any of us stole things. They don't know. They can't prove anything.
Do you know the man that distributes newspapers in your neighborhood, son of Mr. Brophy?
Who?
Mr. Brophy. Some of the coin boxes on his newsstands have been broken into. He thought maybe you could tell us something about that.
Why me? I don't know any Mr. Brophy.
Well, he knows you, Harry. He saw you hanging around one of the newsstands one night, and there's something else. He saw you trying to buy a bottle of liquor in the neighborhood. Is that right?
We've had 3 or 4 reports on you, son. What do you say? You want to tell us about it?
They're crazy. I haven't done anything.
Well, you got nothing to worry about, son.
I won't tell you anything.
Look out, Ben. There, grab it. I got him. All right. Hold it up, son.
Let me go. Let me go.
Take it easy, young fellow.
I haven't done anything. I haven't. Now, let me go, please. I haven't done anything.
Why'd you try to run away?
I have to get home. I got to get home right away.
All right, son. We'll take you there.
No, you can't go with me. I have to go alone.
Afraid we're going to have to hold on to you, Harry. Either we take you home or we take you downtown. Which is it?
I tried to tell him I couldn't do everything. I tried, but it didn't work. I can't do everything.
What do you mean, son?
Take me home. I'll let them tell you.
You are in the forgery division of the Metropolitan Police Department. Handwriting analysis.
All right. Now write the alphabet in lowercase, please.
You are listening to a police officer taking a sample of a suspect's handwriting.
This handwriting sample will be compared with a forged signature. Side by side, 2 signatures may often look alike, but closer examination will prove a world of difference. You'll find the same is true when you compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
Side by side, Fatimas are the same in length and circumference. 85 millimeters long, 1 1/64 inches around.
And Fatima filters the smoke exactly the same long distance as any other king-size cigarette.
But in Fatima,
The difference is quality. Fatima gives you extra mildness, a much different, much better flavor and aroma. Remember, Fatima has all the advantages of extra length, plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has. So insist on the best. Next time, buy king-size Fatima.
Wednesday, February 5th, 4:15 p.m. We left the sports pavilion, got in the car, and started to drive our teenage suspect, Harry Dunbar, to his home. On the way, we questioned him about the series of petty thefts which had been going on in his neighborhood. We asked him about stealing merchandise from the grocery store run by Mr. Loomis. He admitted he was responsible. He said he'd been stealing things from the store for more than a month. We asked the boy about the petty thefts from the grocery store operated by Mr. Collins. Again, he told us he was responsible. He also admitted stealing from the neighborhood drugstore and the variety store, in addition to breaking into the coin boxes on the self-service newsstands. In each instance, he described his method of operation. He estimated that over a period of some 4.5 weeks, he'd stolen approximately $50 in merchandise and about $5 in cash. We asked him why. He refused to answer.
You must have had a reason for doing all this, Harry. Why don't you tell us? We're going to find out sooner or later.
Sorry, officer. It's next turn to your left.
Okay. What's the matter, son? You afraid of what your folks are going to say?
No, that's not it. I never stole anything in my life till this time. When I started in, I didn't think of it as stealing. Something I had to do, that's all. I couldn't help it.
That doesn't make much sense, Harry. What do you mean you couldn't help it?
It's the truth. You gotta believe me. There wasn't anything else I could do.
Well, what was it then? Was somebody forcing you to steal?
No. Can't you just believe me? It's something I had to do. Sergeant, can't you let me off here? I'll walk home the rest of the way. I promise you I'll come in and see you tomorrow.
Well, you know we couldn't do that, son. You've already admitted stealing from a half a dozen stores in the neighborhood, breaking into those coin boxes. It's going to have to be straightened out one way or the other.
But I can pay him back for what I took. I got a job. I'll pay back every one of them.
I believe you, son, but there's still a lot of explaining that's going to have to be done.
This is the 1500 block, Harry. Want to point out your house for us? Son?
Can't we fix it up some other way? We don't have to go to my house, do we?
The sooner you face it, the better. Now, how about it?
Keep on going. It's way down the end of the block there.
Well, now, which is it, son? There's no houses beyond this. It's just that shack down there.
That's my house.
Okay, Harry.
Maybe I better go in first, see if everything's all right.
It'll be all right. We'll come with you. Ben and I followed the boy up the stairs and into the house. From the outside, it looked run down and badly in need of painting. On the inside, it still looked in fair condition, except for the housekeeping. The floor of the living room was littered with soiled clothing, ashes, dirt, and dust. The few pieces of furniture didn't look much better. A card table set in one corner was crowded with dirty dishes and scraps of half-eaten food. Across the room was a baby in a crib. Couldn't have been more than a few months old. Apparently, the bedclothes in the crib hadn't been changed for days. Next to the crib, huddled in an army cot, underneath a few thin blankets, was a dark-haired little girl, maybe 2.5 years old. Her face was thin and pale, and she was asleep. Through an open door, we could see into the next room where a woman was lying on a couch. There was an empty glass and a newly opened bottle of whiskey on the nightstand.
Should have let me come in first, officers. Would have had a chance to clean up a little. Kids mess up the house.
Harry, is that you, Harry?
That's my mother. Resting a little, I guess. This is the baby in the crib. His name's Jerry. Well, that's my little sister on the cot there. Her name's Annie.
Get your mother out here, will you, son? We want to talk to her.
Don't get mad at her, huh, will you? Ma's had a tough time lately. She tries to do her best.
What's the matter with the kids here, son? Have they been sick?
Yeah, the baby had a cold, but I got that medicine in from the drugstore. He seems to be okay. I'm not so sure about Annie, though. She had a bad cold. Doesn't seem to be getting over it.
You want to take a look, man?
Yeah.
Get your mother up, son.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Ma. Now, get up, will you?
What is it? Who'd you bring home with you?
A couple of policemen. They won't talk to you.
What'd you bring them in for? Close the door there. I have to fix up a little.
My mother will be right out, officer.
All right, son.
And Joe?
Yeah.
We better get to a phone right away. It looks pretty bad.
What is it?
Baby needs a doctor. A little girl here. I hope she does, too.
What?
I'm not sure she's alive.
An ambulance was called immediately, and Harry Dunbar's 2-year-old sister Annie and his baby brother were both rushed to the general hospital. The mother, identified as Mrs. Florence Dunbar, was taken downtown and booked at the main jail on a drunk charge. 6:45 p.m. We took the boy, Harry Dunbar, over to Ben's house. We put in a call to the general hospital to check on his little sister Annie and his infant brother. They told us both the children were suffering from malnutrition. The little girl, Annie, had double pneumonia. Miraculously, the baby seemed to have been spared. He was sick, but his condition wasn't considered serious. After Ben's wife fed him dinner, 18-year-old Harry Dunbar sat down and told us the story. 3 months before, his father had deserted the family. His mother had made a pretense at supporting Harry and the 2 babies and then gave it up in favor of drinking. The whole burden of keeping the family alive was piled on the youngster's shoulders. Besides school, he had 3 odd jobs that he worked at to earn enough money to pay the rent, the gas and light bill, food, and general necessities. It wasn't enough, so he had to take to stealing. His mother wouldn't work, but at the same time, she wouldn't let the boy apply for charity. He slept at Ben's house that night, and the next morning at Juvenile Bureau, he gave us the rest of the story.
I guess it got too much for me. I don't know. I could sneak the food and medicine from the stores, all right, but couldn't seem to get enough money together. The rent bill and all that. Kids needed clothes, too.
Well, why wouldn't your mother let you apply for help, son? Some of the local charity.
Well, Ma'd never go for that, officer. She'd get mad when I talked about it. Said she had too much pride to take charity.
Did your mother know that you were stealing the food and medicine that you used to bring home?
I don't know. Guess so. Wouldn't be so mad at her, but every time I got some money together to pay bills, she wanted me to buy whiskey for her. She begged so much I couldn't say no.
We're having your mother brought over from the main jail, Harry. We'd like to find out if we can't locate your father. You want to check outside, Ben? See if they brought Miss Dunbar over yet?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
How about the kids, Officer? Annie and the baby? How they doing?
Well, I checked the hospital, Harry. The doctor's going to call us as soon as he can.
Oh, I should have known better. Poor little kids. I could take care of myself, but they had to depend on her. She'd only stop drinking.
You go right in, Mrs. Dunbar.
Harry, you all right, son? What have they been doing to you?
I'm all right, Mom. No, don't hang on me like that.
I was worried about you, Harry, you and the kids. I'm sorry they got sick. I didn't know. It's just bad luck, Harry. We got to stick together, you and me.
There's a chair here, Mom. Sit down.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah?
Hospital called. They took the message outside. Here.
Well, thank you.
The hospital, officer? About Annie, the baby?
Yeah, that's right, son. About your little sister Annie.
What about her? What'd the doctor say?
Well, it's not good, Harry. The doctor called and said Annie had pneumonia.
Pneumonia.
She'll be all right, though, huh? They'll take care of her?
Well, it's not that way, son. I mean, the doctor said... Oh, look, you tell him what you do.
Well, what is it? What about Annie?
We got a right to know. She's my little girl.
Sergeant, you can tell me.
You want to sit down, Harry?
Yes, sir?
Annie died 10 minutes ago. The doctors tried. They couldn't help.
Annie dead?
That's right, son.
Mm-hmm. She's only a little kid. She's only 2 years old. Harry. Harry, son. Poor little Annie. Why did it have to be her, my own little girl? My own little Annie. Be good to me, son. I don't know how I can stand it. My own little girl, Annie.
Go outside, Mom. Go outside.
No, Harry. I need you. I need you more than ever, son. Be good to me. We have to stick together now. We gotta love one another.
All right, Miss Dunbar.
No. I need Harry. He's all I got. Aren't you, son? It's so hard sometimes. Everything's against us. Lord only knows I've tried. We've got to try to be happy, to stay together, love one another. Lord only knows.
Will you shut up, Ma?
Harry, don't blame me, son. We've got to try to be happy.
I blame you. Anybody blame you. You killed her. Poor little kid, you killed Annie.
Harry, don't say it. Don't say it.
I will say it, Ma. You did it. The whole terrible thing. Annie's dead. You did it. Don't you know what it means?
Don't, son. Don't hurt me.
All right, Harry. Now take it easy.
You know it, too, don't you? She did it. Her and her whiskey and her drinking and laying around, not even caring about the kids. I tried to tell you, Ma. It's the least you could have done. Take care of the kids. See they're all right. You had to drink. You wouldn't work. You had to lay around. Don't you understand? I couldn't do it all. I tried. I couldn't do it all. You had to go on drinking and lay there and let watch Annie die.
Please, son, don't say that. We're going to love each other. I wouldn't hurt Annie. You know your mother never do that.
You're not my mother. You're not anybody's mother.
You don't know what you're saying. Harry, I'm your mother. Lord knows I've tried to be a good mother. You don't mean what you're saying.
Goodbye, Ma. I hope I never have to see you again.
Harry, please, don't go.
Ben, you better go get her. Yeah.
You wouldn't believe me, Sergeant. Lord knows I've tried. It's not easy, a husband deserting you the way Charlie did. 3 kids on your hands. What can I do?
Yes, ma'am.
Harry ought to understand. I tried. Lord knows it's the best anybody can do. Just try and hope for the best.
Yes, ma'am. I've only got one question.
Yes?
How hard did you try?
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On April 23rd, trial was held in Municipal Court, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, I have here a pack of Fatimas. Inside, of course, 20 king-size Fatima cigarettes. Now, Fatimas are the same length and circumference as other king-size cigarettes, and Fatima filters the smoke the same long distance. But only inside this golden yellow package do you get Fatima quality. That's right. Fatima gives you all the advantages of extra length plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has. Next time, buy Fatima.
18-year-old Harold Dunbar was filed on in juvenile court. After the hearing, the court directed that the 2 Dunbar children be placed in a foster home. Mrs. Dunbar was permanently deprived of the custody of her children.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Stay tuned for Counter Spy. Next over NBC.